Mic's on now. Go for it.
And an overcast day greets us on this Saturday afternoon for the top of the table Division 4 clash. It's round 9 action in the Eastern Football League between East Burwood and Fairpark right here at East Burwood Reserve. Damien Watson with you. Hope you're enjoying your afternoon as you go local for your footy. This is a big clash in the context of the season in Division 4. Two sides who have been heavyweights relatively, it must be said, over the last couple of seasons. East Burwood have certainly challenged even though they missed the grand final last year. Fairpark are a team on the rise with a relatively new identity, and they've risen due to the expectations there after disbanding the Eastern Lions moniker. So I welcome in our panellists for the pre-game show. A big welcome to Steve White, who's back after a mid-season hiatus. How are you, Steve?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Damo. I was swanning around Optus Stadium a couple of weeks ago there in Western Australia, Bulldogs and West Coast. Fantastic facility they got out there.
25 degrees, wasn't it, over there?
26 and sunny, so back to reality now.
Yes, back to the 13-degree days in the Melbourne winter. And I also welcome in our coaching aficionado. He's coached over 500 games at local football level. I speak, of course, of Brett Davidson, who joins us once again. How are you, Davo?
Good, thanks, Damien. Really looking forward to this top-of-the-table clash. And, yeah, they're both... I suppose that you are saying that they're both heavyweights, and that's probably the way that they've played the entire season. Yeah. So really looking forward to the opportunity to seeing what could be a grand final, I suppose, match-up straight away.
I'm sure both sides are aiming for that particular echelon. As I welcome in our first guest, he's an icon of this competition. I speak of the East Burwood coach, Stuart Wine, who joins us right here in the box. G'day, Stuart. A big day for you. How's the preparation going?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, it's going well. So far, so good. We'll know a lot more in a couple of hours' time.
What about the mid-season break? Is it potentially a momentum killer for you, or is it something you've embraced just to give the boys a bit of a rest?
Yeah, look, would rather probably not have it, to be honest.
Okay.
But, we'd probably rather have it towards the end of the season, around 14, 15. But I think sort of we're going to buy in a couple of weeks' time, and then after that we should pretty much play 7 straight. So after next week, so yeah, it's not ideal. The players would probably prefer to keep playing, but a buy here and there, I suppose you got to deal with it.
And I suppose that's one of the difficult things is in this competition when you get a bye, sometimes the bye and the break fall too close together and you lose the momentum, I suppose, of what you're talking about. And I know you can follow it up at the end, but I agree. I think the break, say, 4 out before finals is the perfect time to have a break, because that's when you really do need it. It's a long season with the pre-season, and that's a perfect time to have that break. But Fairpark, we don't know a lot about them. I suppose, and being new and having a lot of new players to the club, they're a bit of an unknown for yourself as well, would you think?
Yeah, they are. And look, they've started the year really well. The subsequent game last year, they beat us here at home. So, they had some talent last year and they matched up pretty well on us last year. So, we think we're stronger. They're obviously definitely stronger. So, I think it's going to be a pretty good game.
And I think probably the area that you should be really impressed with, I think, this year, your midfield has been, I know it's been bolstered by the Mariani brothers, but there's a lot of depth in that midfield, and that's been probably the go-to position for you, has been the ability to throw your Perrys and all these blokes through the midfield all the time. Has that been something you've worked on a lot?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got probably 7 that roll through there, and we've got a young bloke in the 2s that's playing his 3rd game. He just got the ball in actually, but he's a quality player that'll come in next week in Max Healy. So we've got a good 7 or 8 that can float through there, and it wouldn't matter what 3 or 4 that are in there. They're all pretty good.
And I suppose the other one then is getting it down into the forward line. You've got that unusual mix of your talls and smalls, but your smalls are really creative smalls, aren't they? They're the ones that are really difficult matchups because they're actually reasonably good in the air as well.
Yeah, they are, and they kick goals. So we don't just rely on our bigs to kick goals. We bring it to ground, and we think Anthony Mariani's pretty dangerous around goal, and Pez is as well. So we've got Brett Kay. They're all pretty good goal kickers as well. So, and some of our midfielders push forward. In Scotty Davis, he kicks goals too. So that's handy.
And I suppose one of the differences between when you're talking about small goal kickers, you think of those nippy little run. These boys are all strong, aren't they? They're really strong over the contest. They're the sort of small forwards that you just can't knock off the ball, and that makes them even more dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. They're pretty experienced. Yeah, we've got most of our experienced guys, in our forward sort of six. So they play a lot of footy, and they certainly can tackle and are strong.
And just on your tools to cover that as well, Jai Milton, Brett Handrick and Stafford, I've been pretty impressed with how they're playing. What do you see their contribution to the club so far this year?
Well, look, they've been terrific in the air. Lewis Need as well up forward, new young guy, 21 years old. Their marking ability is really good. They very rarely get outmarked. But in saying that, I don't think we've played a side as tall as Fairpark yet. So. We've had one or two of them that haven't been able to match up on us, but today they'll probably have the size to go with us, so that's going to be a good test for those guys.
And just we've seen Division 4 this year. It's sort of a schism sort of opening up between 3 or 4 clubs and then another 3 or 4 clubs. What's your sort of take on that with the comp going forward? Yeah,
look, it's the talent isn't as good as last year, which is understandable. The 2 best sides went out of the competition in Whitehorse and Glen Waverley Hawks, and the new sides come in who are going to take a little bit of time. So, yeah, the competition isn't as strong, but you can only play who you're up against, and certainly the top few sides are pretty powerful.
Yeah. And one final personal question: how did you feel about Adrian Galino giving your record a shake the other way?
I've got plenty of people asking me about it and giving me a hard time about it. But look, he's a great player, and there's still a fair chance he might knock it off this year against a couple of the bottom sides. If he has another good day. So he's a natural goal kicker, and he knows where the goals are.
Do you make a strategic move, to place him out of the forward line in case he's threatening your record?
I will if he gets too close. There's no doubt about that. I've told him that. And,
Sitting him on the bench just for next week, getting him right for next week, I think is the perfect guys.
Yeah.
He doesn't like coming off the ground or taking him off, and he just gives me the bird and stays on. So he's hard to bring off the ground.
Oh, brilliant. Well, Stuart, really appreciate your time pre-game. I know it's a hectic period of the week for you. Thanks again for joining us, and best of luck for today.
Thanks, guys.
Good on you. Stuart Wine, the East Burwood coach, joining us, and good to note a dry sense of humour there. And it's interesting to note, Davo, his thoughts on the bye. Is that something you subscribe to? You looked in agreement with him as well, that the bye from a playing perspective should be a little later in the season. Do you think that the fatigue sets to wear in a little later on rather than in the midpoint of the season?
Oh, look, everything's dependent upon, I suppose, how you're going. I suppose that's the other thing. But one of the issues in this division, and Steve, you touched on it, was this gap between the top and the bottom, so that if you happen to have a number of weeks in a row where you're playing the sides that probably would struggle against your standards, you're then not getting the hit-outs that you really want. And if then suddenly you get a bye or you get the break, it really makes it hard to build that momentum up. So I suppose that's one of the issues that they've got. But also, it is a long year, and I think the break 4 weeks out is a really good break to have before finals, especially as they play a Final Four. So you're going to go 3 weeks straight with your finals. You don't have to break in the finals really either. So, it's something to look at. It's very hard to do with draws and all that sort of stuff to change things up. And we've got to ask the Queen to change her birthday if that's the case, and I don't think that's going to really happen either. Just
you probably won't have to wait long, given how. Don't want to say that, but I did. But no, there was the Queen Mother. She was 100, wasn't she, or 98?
102, I think. Yeah, that's right. But just on the point of the break being in the mid-season, I guess some clubs would embrace it because at the end of the day, they may have injuries. I think from a universal perspective, is it perhaps more even placing it right in the midpoint of the home and away season? Oh, look,
it would with clubs that are having issues with maybe form and all those sorts of things, but with injuries, it's a perfect opportunity. You get that chance to have that complete break away from the club and then bring them back and refresh them, and then you've got the back end of the season to continue on with. So it is very dependent upon where you sit at that very time in the year. But I've always liked the fact that if we're going to have that break, I like the break if we could later on in the year. But then again, I haven't coached in many years where they've had byes. So having a bye or 2 byes That could be even worse. You know, the one that I feel sorry for is the team that gets the bye in round 18, and they could be a team that's fighting out for a finals chance, and they've got no opportunity to actually influence the contest in that last round. That's right. They're the killers.
I mean, you're talking about the byes too. I mean, East Burwood have Forest Hill next week, and then they have a bye. So they've gone, well, week off, week on, 2 weeks on, and then a week off again. So you're losing that momentum.
Yep, definitely. And again, it depends on who they play after that. You know, if they happen to play Croydon or Croydon North Hemlock or Kilsyth or another side that's probably not up to the standard at this stage of the East Burwood. So again, it makes it hard.
Just on the point of East Burwood, I mean, they missed out on the grand final last year after being heavily touted to make it at the very least, particularly at the start of the season when they opened in a blaze of glory. How much of a motivational factor do you think that would be, missing the grand final? It seems as if that's the minimum expectation this year. Oh,
100%. I think it'll sting you every year, particularly with the expectations that were on them last year. Now, particularly with their as up today undefeated record, should they go on to beat Fairpark, they're still undefeated. But obviously the recruiting in the off season, particularly bringing in the Marianis, etc., you can see what the hunger and the drive was to go that one step further. So I think in terms of a motivational factor, it would probably be number one.
And I think one of the things, it is number one, but I think the other thing is that they see this real opportunity now to go this year. It's nearly like a bang-bang situation that they're setting themselves up for. Hopefully they think they can get over the line this year, and with some of the talent they got, and they're not super old, then being able to go again the next year. And look, when you look at the standard of the competition in third division, I think they're probably good enough to be able to go up and have an impact. They've still got to recruit, but they've got a number of young kids coming through, which has got some real talent. They've got some really talented under-19 boys. So they might feed them through during the end of this year even, and then see what they come up with for next year. But I think that's what they're looking at, creating a little bit of a, I suppose, a little dynasty if they had an opportunity to do so.
Yes, and just before we introduce our next guest from the Fairpark side of the coin, just lastly, in the context of East Burwood's history, Davo, they've had a very successful and rich history. Where does it rank in importance at premiership this year? Because they've had a number of lean years, just to revitalise some confidence in the club.
Premiership, no matter what year, what standard, what division, is important for a football club, because it enables them, creates history to start off with. So you've created a piece of history that the other 8, 7, 10 clubs within the competition haven't had an opportunity to do. And they've come from a long way. You've got to remember what they've been through in the last 5 or 6 years. They had never been out of first division. They went the double drop. And then, it's a bitter pill to take for a club. I can remember being here and coaching against East Burwood, and there was 1,500 people here on a first division day, and it was just... they were fearsome, I should say, to play against. They were such a good football club and side. So to get them back into that area would be a great thing for the Eastern Footy League, but there's lots of other clubs you can say the same thing about.
Well, let's turn our attention to the other side of the spectrum. We've spoken at length about East Burwood. Their opponents today, Fairpark, have their own incentives, and I'm pleased to welcome their coach, Sean Stanton, to the broadcast. G'day, Sean. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Just in regards to the break, how has your group seen it? Has it been a momentum killer for yourself, or is it a well-deserved and welcomed break?
A bit of both. We needed the break, very much so, but unfortunately, I was just saying to the guys, we've probably had a few injuries throughout the break, which hasn't been ideal. But in saying that, we had a lot of sore boys, and they're coming at an opportune time. I think it'll be interesting the first 5-10 minutes. We've done a lot of match simulation over the last 2 weeks, but until you get out there against a red-hot opposition, it'll be interesting to see how they stack up.
Just in relation to your performances so far this season, I mean, we've seen a couple of years ago the club has undergone a change of identity with their name, their playing list, etc. How has that revitalised the club, not only on the field but off the field as well?
Yeah, well, it's my 3rd year here, and to be honest, my first year they went back to Fairpark, I think it was, and we didn't have a lot of success on field, and as a result of that, I think we were sort of in a little bit of a lull for the last 2 years, but this year with a new group, it just you start to win a few games and people jump back on board, which is a pleasing part. So it helps obviously off field as well. It's really hard as a football club to make revenue and to put players on the park and all the things that are involved in running a football club, and that's the pleasing part. We're getting on-field success, blokes are enjoying it, but then we're getting a lot of people walking around the old Eastern Lions jackets that we haven't seen for two years.
Come out of the woodwork.
They certainly have, and they're more than welcome. Hopefully more jump on board. So it's been a really good spot and a good place to be the last sort of 6 months.
All right, I suppose one of the things I want to ask, as from a coaching perspective, you got there at the start of pre-season, or might have been before the start of pre-season, and suddenly there's this opportunity for a large group of boys to come across, whether they all came across at once or one drip-fed and then they just suddenly come across. How is that to deal with? Because that's a very different dynamic than what you're used to within the coaching framework.
Well, first night of pre-season training, I made sure they all had name tags on because that was my memory's not the best at times. But the pleasing part is they're a terrific bunch of blokes, and I've been at football clubs in the past where they've brought in mass players that have been there for the wrong reason, and it can pull the heart out of your club. Yep. Thankfully, the guys that have come wanted to play together. I think we've been unfairly targeted at times that we've gone and ripped the heart out of the football club. That, unfortunately for them, they were struggling to get a team up.
Yeah.
And it was just happens to be that a lot of the players live local to us and they decided to come and join our football club. Obviously, the attraction to living close to home, the fact that James Goff was already there previously from the year before, and the fact that the club hasn't been successful for a long period of time, I think that was a factor in them wanting to come and try and improve our footy club.
And I suppose that's one of the things that I really like about this year is you've got the East Burwood who are wanting to create the history again, and you've got Fairpark who have got this real opportunity of starting a history in some cases, and that's a real lure for a lot of boys and to stay on as well, isn't it? It's that commitment to creating their own history, because you rarely get to do that as a player.
Yeah, and the stories from East Burwood, it was a little bit scary when you're just talking about back in the days though when they used to get 1,500 people here. It's they've obviously been a powerhouse and they're now starting to try and rebuild and capture that again. And we're a club, there is history, don't get me wrong, but not a lot of successful stuff in the history book. So hopefully this year we can improve, and that was what the idea was at the start of the year. We'd love to win a premiership. I think everyone does, but I wanted to see improvement, and thankfully we've finally seen some, because if not, it'd be put the club in a pretty ordinary spot.
And I suppose lastly from me, this is my first opportunity to see you firsthand and what you look like, and had a look at you warming up, the boys just out on the ground. Got a bit of size about you, which is really nice to have in this division particularly, where size does have an impact. Can you just tell us a little bit about some of the boys that we may not have seen much of and what they've brought to the club?
Yeah, unfortunately, 2 or 3 of them have pulled out since Thursday, but one guy in particular, Michael Keane, who I've mentioned on the radio previously, he's a 6'4" sort of midfielder who's just a great competitor and a great leader. AJ Mullix is a guy from Mount Waverley he's a really talented guy, kicks a footy as good as I've seen for a long period of time. Great in the air, and even Michael Jeffries is an older guy, and he holds the young key back for us. He brings some leadership. He's a wise head, and we're still a relatively young group. We've got a lot of people under the age of 22, 23 still, so that's brings a lot of value to our team.
All right, I suppose I will. I've got to go one more. The one more is yourself. You've planned for this year, and you've got all your plans. Mentally, have you got that plan of what will you look like in 2 or 3 years' time? Is that in the back of your head? You've got that little plan of what you look like in 2 or 3 years' time, and how far away are you from that?
No, to be completely honest, not at all. I think what we're looking to do as a club is to improve on-field and off-field, and obviously we're probably resetting goals as we speak. At the start of the year, our hope was to win 7 games, where last year we only won 6. We've achieved that now, so we've got to, what's the next target? The thing I can say is that we have a great junior club, and now I'm not saying going back a few years ago they probably didn't have a super strong junior club, but our under-19s today, I popped out and watched them play Sylvan in the under-19s, and they're pretty good Sylvan, and we were very competitive, and we've got some talent there which we probably haven't had going back 4, 5, 6 years ago. So if those guys can continue, and they really buy into the senior club as well, which is good, they'll come down and they'll support later today, they hang around after training Thursday. If they can hang around and we can maintain the list that we've got, in 2 or 3 years' time, every chance I'll be sacked by then, but the club will be in a good spot.
Now, Sean, we talked to Jesse Pearce earlier on EFL Insight, and he was talking about the enthusiasm at training. You had 40 to 50 guys running around the track. Is that still the case, particularly given your undefeated record and the chance you've got to sniff at a premiership this year?
I'd love to say it has been.
Okay.
When it gets a bit cold and a bit wet, people, I see most tradies knock off at about 3:30, 4 o'clock, but a lot of them seem to work late on Tuesday nights. But no, it's still good. Like we would have had 40. I think we would have had 45 on the track Thursday night, and we would have had close to 40 on Tuesday, which is still pretty good. I've got my older brother coaches the Basin, and I've got another brother who coaches Garfield, and I spoke to Hayden, who's at Garfield, and I said, how many do you get on Tuesday? And they had 20 blokes on the track. So given we're at the 5th division, essentially, Division 4, to still get those numbers on the track is pleasing, but it dropped off slightly when it gets a bit cold and wet.
And two other guys I was impressed with, Dave, I did mention, Stratos Deguris and Ben Dadswell. What are your take on their contribution to the club? Oh, and Steve Colosimo came across from One South.
He certainly did. Yeah, Steve's been great. He's got a lot of class and he brings a lot of speed, probably something that we've lacked in years gone by. Stratos Delgiris, he comes from a soccer background. I coached him probably 5 years ago at Belgrave, 6 years ago, and he was a raw talent and he had a lot to learn, but he continues to improve and build, and he's actually become a really important part of our team. He leads from the front. He's a great trainer, looks after himself. He's in really good condition, and we actually made him vice-captain this year. So he's come a long way, and Ben Dadswell getting long in the tooth. I coached him up at Belgrave, and thankfully he followed me over. He's missed a few games, but he'll be back in today. So hopefully he can have an impact. But you hear it from most footy clubs, and I heard you on Wednesday night when you spoke to Danny Russo. A lot of football clubs, everyone gets along, but our football club is unique. That there's no segregation. Everyone's in it together.
No cliques.
There really isn't, and that's what makes the joint so good to be around. Like I've been at a few football clubs, but they're just a great bunch of blokes, and I'm hoping that we can have some success.
Well, Sean, really appreciate your time pre-game. As I said, a busy time for you, and it's a big game for you as well. Thanks again, and best of luck for today.
Thank you. Hopefully we can put on a decent show for you guys. Thanks for coming out and supporting us.
Oh, brilliant stuff there. Sean Stanton, the Fairpark coach, joining us. We'll take a break. This is EFL Game Day, and it's our match of the day between East Burwood and Fairpark Division 4 action as you go local for your footy. We'll preview the remaining games across all of the divisions of the Eastern Football League after this. This is EFL Game Day, streaming live on efl.org.au, and of course you're hearing us on 1377 SEM+.
The Kids Edition. Footy for Kids.
And you're clear. 4 minutes.
Thanks, Nigel. Brilliant stuff.
TN.
Does your backyard need a little tidying up? You'll find a huge range of great value sheds at Bunnings Warehouse. And if you need some assistance with assembly, just ask a team member in-store and they can help.
AFL Nation, Carlton versus Western Bulldogs tonight on 11:16 SEM.
Only 19 shots from 53 inside 50s, down on clearances and can't lay a tackle. What was the seniors coach going to do? Jono surprised himself and everyone else. The spray he gave the boys at halftime worked. Well, he did finish it by saying he'd shout them a post-game feed and frothies at Eastland if they won. For all of life and footy's little moments, there's Eastland, proud sponsors of the EFL. Eastland, live real.
Decided to go with the mahogany with gold handles on the side and white roses. I think that should look really elegant.
I like how you can see it all.
Tobin Brothers Funerals' latest Memory Maker app gives you more choice than ever before. With the app's newest Build Your Own feature, you can now personalise your own coffin or casket. Choose the design, the colour, the handles, the drapery and flowers to match. Download Tobin Brothers Funerals' Memory Maker app from the App Store or visit tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Hello, I'm Peter Hitchener. 9 News invites you to join our team nightly at 6 for Melbourne's #1 news. Tony Jones with the latest sport, including the footy, plus Lavinia Nixon's weather forecast. 9 News, proud supporter of the Eastern Football League.
Hello, I'm Rosie for the Family Peace Foundation. Last week, I did my first full handstand in the park. I've been practicing for months and was so excited. Mum missed it though, because she was looking at something on her phone. My dog Digger saw it, and he came running, wagging his tail, and we celebrated together. I wish Mum could have seen it. But like always, she was on her phone. Family Peace. Do it for your kids.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
One could argue that a head coach will never be replaced by a robot. Then again,
Do something, don't think, do.
Robot Building Supplies has everything. Steel, sleepers, wire mesh.
Robots got it.
Roofing and timber.
Robots got it.
Be the winning team on site. For your building supplies, order at robotbuildingsupplies.com.au or call 1300-GO-ROBOT. You'll speak with a real human.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
Do you hold a current full Victorian motorcycle or scooter licence and want to earn some extra cash? Scooty! Melbourne's new two-wheel taxi service is here. And right now, Scooty is looking for motor scooter drivers to beat Melbourne's traffic congestion and get people to the game, the gig or the meeting. Sign up at scooty.com.au today and turn your motor scooter into a money-making machine. Scooty. Delivering people.
1 minute.
You can get 1 hour terminal parking for just $12. It makes it easy to greet your loved ones when they come home or give them a proper send-off. You can also park for up to 3 hours for just $24 and 1 day for $51. That's cheaper than a taxi to and from the city. For warmer welcomes, proper goodbyes and everything in between, Melbourne Airport Parking is here to get you there. Visit melbourneairport.com.au.
The biggest cricket tournament in the world. The 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup is here, and you'll hear every ball live on SEN. Don't miss a moment of the action with every game live on 1377.
20 seconds.
Channel on the SEN app. Plus, every Australian game live on 1116 SEN. He's caught it seconds left. Simmons Homes, building quality, affordable homes since 1949. SEN is your home for the 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup. AFL.
Okay, here we go.
1116 SEN.
Let's putting the mics on. And go.
Welcome back. This is EFL Game Day on 1377 SEN Plus, and of course streaming live on EFL.org.au. We're at East Burwood Reserve this afternoon for the top of the table Division 4 clash between East Burwood and Fairpark. Damian Watson, Stephen White and Brett Davison with you on this pre-game segment. And before we get stuck into this match of the day, let's go through the remaining games across all of the divisions of the Eastern Football League, and we kick it off with round 9 action in Premier Division. The 4 games played today due to the fact that the Queen's Birthday Clash was played last week between Noble Park and Balwyn. It was Balwyn getting up quite convincingly there. Let's start off with Blackburn v Rowville. And Davo, gee, these are two big sides who are pushing that top echelon in the Premier Division.
Yeah, this is the match of the round, this one. It's really looking forward to seeing the result. Blackburn will probably be a little bit tough to beat, I think. Look, I'm going for Blackburn, but Rowville have been pretty impressive, and they've found their mojo a little bit over the last couple of weeks. So I'm just going to tick Blackburn just. I'm going to go back the trend, go to Rowville. I reckon they're the roughie in Division 1, the Premier Division this year. And also, I think BWS said on EFL Insight that you can rule a line under the 5 teams in this division. I think it's only 4. I think it's Blackburn, Rowville, Fairmont and Balwyn. So. Okay. That's my hot take for that division, but no, I think I'm going Rowville by 2 goals.
Only 14% separating the sides on the ladder at present. Let's move on to Doncaster, who are taking on Norwood. Big news in Norwood during the week with Tom Boyd potentially coming over, and Doncaster, gee, they've had a disappointing season. Yeah, they've probably been the most disappointing team in all 5 divisions for me. I agree. I rated them so highly over the last couple of years, their ability to play great football against the good sides, and I don't know what's happened this year, but they just haven't been able to make it happen. Playing a Norwood side that's getting a little bit of a roll at the moment. They're playing some pretty good football, and even though it's at Doncaster, it's Doncaster's last chance. We've been saying that for weeks. Yeah. It really is, but I think Norwood will be too good. Yeah, look, I have to agree on that, and it's such a contrast from last year, going from genuine premiership contenders to relegation risk. Well, I have to agree with you there. I think Doncaster's season is shot at this point. Vermont hosting North Ringwood, the top of the table side who have taken virtually all before them so far this season against North Ringwood, who are a developing group in the Premier Division. Is this a fait accompli, Davo?
Nothing's a fait accompli, but Vermont at Vermont is a very, very tough ask, and I think probably too tough for North Ringwood. Their ability to get over injuries is what's been impressive with Vermont. They've had a number of players out a number of weeks, and they still managed to get good footballers to come along. And, I had a look at their emergencies this week, and they got 3 guys in their emergencies. It'd be walk-up starts in every other team.
Yeah,
So, pretty strong. I think they'll be too good for North Ringwood.
Yeah, look, not much debate there. Vermont just the team to beat in Premier Division this year.
By how much?
I'm going to go 5 goals.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
And the last game in the Premier Division today, Montrose v South Croydon. I think this is more intriguing than the paper suggests in terms of the matchup, because Montrose are big competitive. I know they're anchored towards the bottom of the table, but they've been relatively competitive in most games this season. South Croydon coming off a break might be a little underdone. I don't know. Am I being too optimistic, Davo?
No, I think you've been. I think it's worth noting that Montrose, for a team that hasn't won a game, have been very, very, very competitive. And I think they may have only had one blowout for the entire time, and they've pushed a number of clubs for 3 quarters. I don't think they're going to beat South Croydon today. I think South Croydon, they're in that situation where they're fighting for that end part of the top 4 or 5. They need to win. I think they will win, but I think Montrose is certainly going to throw it up to them up on the hill there.
Yeah, look, I agree, and you touched on it, Davo. They're I'd say a 3.5 quarter team. It seems to be the last half of the 4th quarter.
3.5 quarter team. I like that.
Because they seem to go. It seemed to be, particularly that Noble Park game we broadcast in a couple of other games. It's the last 10-15 minutes where they just start to run out of legs or whatever, and it all goes apart. But they are being very competitive this year. But South Croydon going to be too strong today.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Let's move on to Division 1 with the resumption of the fixture there in round 9. East Ringwood hosting Burwood. The Mustangs, at times, they can be a bit of an enigma. They can certainly challenge the top sides. They've had a disappointing season, don't get me wrong, but with Mullet there, they had a chance to knock off East Ringwood.
Look, I find this the hardest division to choose. I've been terrible with my choices the last couple of weeks in this division. I think this is a really tough game. I think Murrabak have been playing much better football in the last 3 or 4 weeks. East Ringwood have been good, but they just let you down at the times that you want them to stand up. They have to win, East Ringwood, to stay in touch. I think they are going to win, but gee whiz, for me, it's toss of the coin. I'm going East Ringwood.
Yeah, look, I agree. Murrabak, they had a terrible start to the season, and they had the draw as well. I think they've been playing better footy the last couple of weeks. But, I'm going to go with East Ringwood on this one.
Fair enough. Knox hosting Upper Ferntree Gully, 2 sides who are in the lower category on the ladder so far. Have you been disappointed with Knox, given they've come down from essentially a Premier Division spot, if you want the equivalent from last year, and they're fighting to stave off the bottom sides on the table?
Yeah, look, I have been disappointed. Probably been more disappointed with the fact that they've been very inconsistent. I thought they would be a little bit more consistent than they have been this year, but this is a tough game to pick. Upper Gully were competitive last week and the week before, so they've been competitive but haven't been able to get over the line. Knox been all over the place. Look, I'm going to go Knox, but not with any certainty.
Yeah, I'm going to go, I'd say 2 goals to Knox for this one.
Okay, fair point there. Lilydale taking on Croydon, amongst the best matches in Division 1, arguably today. 2nd v 3rd. Yeah. A tough one to pick. Lilydale have decent players in their lineup. When they're on song, they can be very difficult to beat. But Croydon themselves, who were competitive at the back end of the season last year, have taken a step in 2019. It's probably toss of the coin, this one, Davo.
It certainly is. And I think Croydon, we were really impressed with them on the radio game against Swanee South, the way they played. But since then, they've probably not played as well as what they could have. Lilydale have had a lot of close games, so really their season could be terrible if they'd lost those close games.
Yeah.
This is toss of the coin, and I'm purely going Lilydale because it's at Lilydale and the shape of the ground may suit them.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. Lilydale at the LSO would have the slight edge. I'm going to Lilydale by 14 points.
It's that narrow ground anchored amongst the railway line there. It's probably one of the more unique grounds in local footy, I think.
Oh, definitely. It's a really tough ground to play footy at, and they play it well there.
Potentially a season-defining game between Bayswater and Park Orchards this afternoon. Only, well, less than 12% separating these two sides in 4th and 5th. It could be, as I said, one that could categorise the fate of their season in 2019. Davo, who are you tipping here?
Well, Bayswater were really disappointing against Upper Gully the last game, so Park Orchards have been really good since the game that they played. We thought they'd drop right away after their radio game against Donny East, but they've certainly played some good football. I think the Bayswater Oval and the way Bayswater play it will be too much. But I'm looking through these 5 games.
Yeah,
there is not one of these games that you can go, yep, that's a walk-up start. So I'm going to go Bayswater, but again, I'm picking the home side again.
Yeah, look, I think it's probably the closest, out of all of them, it's closer than Croydon and Lilydale. So I think I'm going to go excuse me, with Basie, this one.
I'm tipping a draw for this one, just to shake things up. And let's head to our last game. Wantirna South hosting Doncaster East. Donny East, a pivotal side in this division and also an intimidating side, but Wantirna South on their home ground, which is unique in its own way, relatively small, compact. You think that they could use that to their advantage, Davo?
Look, I think they can. And Doncaster East, when you look at them, they've won a lot of their games, but you know what? They've had a lot of games where they've been under pressure early and they've had to come from behind, and they've not played consistently good football the entire time. So they're right for the picking. There's no doubt about that. I just don't think Wantirna South is the side to pick them off this round. I think Donny East will win, but it should be a reasonably close game.
Yeah, like I think Donny East, but they're not as well. They were pretty dominant last year. They're a bit a little step.
They're not invincible, are they?
No.
They have been the best team so far in the division. You can't dispute that.
Absolutely. But no, I think they're going to be too strong for Wanty South this year.
Let's turn our attention now to Division 2 before we head to a break. And the round of matches, a full book of 4 games in round 9. Heathmont hosting Mulgrave. Gee, Heathmont, to me, can be a hard side to pick. I mean, they have displayed very good form at times. I know they smashed Baronia a few weeks back. Mulgrave are a side who are still developing but can upset sides on their day.
Yeah, look, Heathmont have come off 2 really good wins, beaten the Basin, beaten Baronia. They got rolled against Ringwood the game before that.
They were disappointing that day.
Yeah.
It's a big fixture, marquee fixture for them.
Definitely. I think they'll beat Mulgrave, even though Mulgrave have got a little bit better in the last couple of weeks. I think Heathmont will be too strong at the hanger.
Yeah, I think the Jets are too easy with this one.
And the next game, Mitcham v Ringwood, 2 sides who are geographically bound together, and they're also bound together on the table. This is the top of the table clash, first versus second.
Match of the round.
Oh, no doubt about that. And I'd love to see the atmosphere there at Walker Park over there, the MCG of the EFL, with all of the Mitcham spectators, that contingent confined underneath the scoreboard there. Gee, and Ringwood, they have their own parochial supporter base as well. Who's going to take this one out?
This is a tough one because Ringwood have surprised me. Now, I'm going to make a call here. I don't know whether the competition this year is as strong in this division as what I thought it might have been, because I thought Ringwood losing 2 of their big guns were going to struggle.
They did in the early part.
They did. They've proven me wrong, and they've come back and they've played some really good, solid football the last number of weeks. Mitcham started off like a house on fire and have just drifted away slightly the last couple of weeks. I think Ringwood's going to win here. I think they're getting themselves their mojo back a little bit more. I think they might be too good for Mitcham, but it's going to be a great game and it'll be tight.
Yeah, game of the round for me, definitely. Probably, arguably, across all 5 divisions. I'm going to tip Ringwood just by 2 goals.
The Basin host Baronia, a Bataram reserve, a confined space in itself. Now, the Basin can be very good at home in utilising that intense style of play. Baronia, on the other hand, they've had a poor few weeks after a good start to the season. They're probably undermanned to an extent as well, Davo. Do you think that's going to have a big impact on them once again this week?
I don't know what's happening at Baronia. Yeah. They've gone from a side that...
They must be undermanned, surely.
Well, they've had a couple of weeks where they had like 6 top players out, and then they got the 6 top players back, and then they still lost both games. So I'm not 100% sure what is going on. Basin at the Basin is tough. I'm going to go the Basin at the Basin, and it's not through any other reason apart from Baronia have been really disappointing the last number of weeks, and they've got a lot to get back. They haven't been able to kick goals. That's been their issue.
I really like the way the Basin have played this year. I mean, speaking of Justin Stanton earlier in the year, they've got 16 players average under the age of 21 running out each week. I've liked the style of play that they've brought this year in terms of their form today. Baronia, we saw in that Templestowe game, very all over the place, and I would expect them, particularly as we saw last year when they were so dominant. So, no, I'm going to go with the Basin here at Batteram.
It's indicative of how tight the division is when Baronia have a couple of off weeks and they've dropped significantly on the table as well. Let's turn to our last game before we head to a break. Scoresby hosting Templestowe. Look, Scoresby are always going to be a struggle this season if they're going to display any sort of competitive form on the park. Are they ripe for the picking here for Templestowe?
They are. Templestowe have been disappointing the last couple of weeks. They've really dropped away from the radio game where they're exceptional against Baronia. They've got a few players back this week and a few players back the previous week. Scoresby, unfortunately, the biggest issue is they just don't have enough goal kickers. Defensively strong, midfield still some good players. They just haven't been able to get enough players to kick a winning score. At Scoresby, I don't think they'll have enough. I think they'll be more competitive again today. I just don't think I can see them getting over the line because Templestowe have to win. Yeah. So I think they probably will.
Yeah, and losing Diezio, I think, really hurt Scoresby in the off-season as with the rest of them. So, no, I'm going Templestowe.
Yeah, of course, Diezio moving across to Ferntree Gully, and I'm going with Templestowe as well. They have the greater incentive. We'll head to a break. That wraps up our preview of the Premier Division, Division 1 and Division 2 for round 9 of season 2019. When we come back, we'll get stuck into Division 3 and Division 4, including our match of the day between East Burwood and Fairpark, live from East Burwood Reserve on EFL Game Day. This is the EFL Pregame Show. Damien Watson, Steve White and Brett Davidson with you on 1377 SEN Plus and streaming live on efl.org.au.
Breakfast with Gareth in 4 minutes.
Thanks, mate.
On SEN.
I'm Jared Waitley. With crowd behaviour such a dominant discussion throughout the week, one of the game's most visible fans, Joffa, has taken a stand.
I'm not going to another game until Bill McLaughlin apologises to supporters right across Australia because we are hurting. This is not football.
Join me again Monday from 9.
Powered by a 100% Australian electricity and gas retailer. That's Red Energy. Switch today. And Doncaster BMW. The Doncaster BMW sale event is on this weekend.
The senior coach has taken the team to Eastland for a post-game feed. If only they had this kind of teamwork on the field. They've just ordered starters to share, plus frothies for the whole table. And now Steve-O's chucked a prawn to Macca. He's circled back. Yes! Straight into his pie hole. You beauty! Good form, boys. For all of life and footy's little moments, there's Eastland. Proud sponsors of the EFL. Eastland. Live real.
Wow, there's some great timber colours here.
Yeah, that's right.
There's reds, browns. I think I want a bit of character. Oh, wow, look at all these choices. Oh, there's tulips.
Let's go for the tulips then. They just look gorgeous.
Turban Brothers Funerals' latest Memory Maker app now gives you more choice than ever before. Select from a wide range of coffins, caskets and floral arrangements, view them in 360 degrees and compare selections and prices. Find out more at turbanbrothers.com.au. Turban Brothers Funerals, celebrating life.
Hello, I'm Peter Hitchener. 9 News invites you to join our team nightly at 6 for Melbourne's #1 news. Tony Jones with the latest sport, including the footy, plus Lavinia Nixon's weather forecast. 9 News, proud supporter of the Eastern Football League.
ROBOT, robot building supplies.
Sometimes in footy, going through the motions, players can feel like a robot.
And what's wrong with that?
Nothing. Sorry, robot.
I can kick goals from 50 on my opposite leg.
No, you can't. But robot building supplies can save us time and money. Steel sheeting and stumps.
Robots got it.
Wire mesh, roofing and timber.
Robots got it.
Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. Robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
Robot building supplies.
Hello, I'm Rosie for the Family Peace Foundation. Last week, I did my first full handstand in the park. I've been practicing for months and was so excited. Mum missed it though, because she was looking at something on her phone. My dog Digger saw it, and he came running, wagging his tail, and we celebrated together. I wish Mum could have seen it, but like always, she was on her phone. Family Peace. Do it for your kids.
Impress clients, friends and colleagues with a premium experience at the MCG. Whether it's your own private suite or a table in a premium space, enjoy award-winning catering and premium beverages at Melbourne's biggest sporting events. mcg.org.au/premium.
From where you are to the game.
1 minute.
Back to where you were. Get there with Scooty. Melbourne's first motor scooter rideshare service is here. More nimble, more affordable. Scooty is the new, safe, greener, easier way to zip your way through inner city peak hour. Next time you're out and about, jump on the back of a Scooty. Download the Scooty app and book a ride.
Hi, Craig Lowndes here. I may be an
30.
Thanks, mate.
But I'm not an expert on tyres. That's why when it comes to my family's safety, I rely on the expert advice I get from the team at Tyre Power. I know that the tyres Tyre Power recommend for my family's car will not only be the right size, they'll be right for local conditions and right for my budget. That's just another reason why I get the power at Tyre Power. Seriously, why would you buy your tyres anywhere else?
All right, coming up to the intro.
So one more break, Nigel, 1:55.
54 and 50, you'll hear the music coming up. So hard out at 54.50. Actually, it's 55.50. You've got to be out 55.50, all right? Here we go, mic's on.
Welcome back. This is EFL Game Day live from East Burwood Reserve. We're at our match of the day between the two ladder leaders in Division 4, East Burwood and Fairpark. We'll continue our preview. Damien Watson, Steve White and the coaching maestro Brett Davidson with you on this Saturday afternoon. Let's move on to Division 3, Round 9 action, and we start off with the Waverley Blues hosting the Glen Waverley Hawks. It's the Waverley Derby. Bryce McGain's boys would be chock full of confidence going into the break. They had a big win over Domvale. Can they account for the Glen Waverley Hawks, who I think have been a touch disappointing? I'm not sure about you, Davo.
I think you've summed it up very, very well there, Damo.
Unusual.
No. You've summed it up beautifully. I think Waverley will be too good at Waverley. It's quite a difficult ground to play, Waverley, and Glen Waverley Hawks have been a touch disappointing. I think losing a couple of their big key forwards at the end of the season in Ferguson, I think that hasn't helped them. They haven't had an avenue to goal as well as what they did last year. Waverley Blues young, but they've got a bit of experience back this week, so I think they'll be too good.
Yeah, I mean, talking to Bryce McGain at the start of the season, he was talking about Waverley Blues, their youth is their big focus. Next 4 to 5 years, particularly now their 19s, are very, very strong as well. I'm really looking forward to how they develop over the next couple of seasons. But in this game, I'm going with the Waverley Blues, 3-4 goals at least.
Yeah, I'm tipping the Blues as well. Ferdry Gully, they host their opponents in the White Horse Pioneers, coming off a very degrading loss, it must be said, a fortnight ago to South Belgrave, who are the yardstick in Division 3. Can Ferntree Gully atone, or can the White Horse Pioneers, the premiers from Division 4 last year, defeat them away from home?
Well, I think if Ferntree Gully have recovered from the tongue lashing that they received after the game against South Belgrave, which I believe was...
were you standing outside the door, were you?
No, we were standing 4 flights up and we could hear most of it. So
it's a real paint peeler. Yeah.
It was a fairly good one from the coach, Peter Farrell. He was very, very angry and disappointed with their performance, as we all were. They will bounce back this week because they have to, and White Horse have been, thereabouts. They've been either really good or they can be quite poor, so it's a bit hard to work out which one they are, but today I think Ferntree Gully will get over the line.
Yeah, and look, the White Horse coming off a big win over Churnside Park, who've had all sorts of problems this season, but I think Ferntree Gully should do the business tonight.
I think they'll have the level of atonement within them to try and motivate themselves.
Awesome soundproofing in the change rooms.
Warrandyte hosting Domvale this afternoon. How can the Bloods go at home?
This is intriguing, this game. This is probably the game of the round in some ways. Warrandyte have been... they've been okay. A little bit up and down, but they've been okay. Domvale have been the same, and Domvale's got some big key forwards.
Yes.
Warrandyte at Warrandyte's are always a difficult little ask. I'm going for Warrandyte, but this is a toss of the coin for me.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go back to trend and go Domvale. They get more incentive to win. They win today. They keep it pace with Warrandyte and White Horse as well. They go to 20 points. I think the forwards at Domvale might prove a little tough for Warrandyte this week.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Warrandyte defenders do curtail the influence of the Donvale forwards, who are well known right across the league, it must be said. Chirnside Park, they host South Belgrave. Can you get more of a stark contrast than that? South Belgrave have been the dominant yardstick in Division 3. Chirnside Park, despite the inclusions they've implemented at the start of the season and the acquisitions they have, they've been disappointing in my view.
Oh yeah, been very disappointing. They know that. They've been non-competitive, unfortunately, in a number of games, and really that's all you want. You want them to be competitive. They'll come out and they'll throw everything in the first quarter and a bit. I still don't think they'll have enough for South Belgrave, who we saw in the last game are the dominant team in this competition, and they will roll along again today.
Yeah, look, no debate from me on that. It's I'd say South Belgrave by probably nearly a century.
Nearly a century. Are they going to crack the ton in terms of the margin, Davo?
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair enough. They might even get to 150. Let's move on to Division 4. We've already previewed this game that we're at today, East Burwood v Fairpark, to an extensive amount. Let's touch on the other 3 games in Division 4 this afternoon. The new kids on the block, Croydon North, Mount Lilydale Old Collegiate. They host Sylvan this afternoon. How much, Sylvan?
Yeah, look, Sylvan will win this one, but Croydon have been really competitive. They've last couple of weeks, they've had a real crack. They were unlucky to lose against Nuttawading at home, and then they played Coldstream and they got beaten easily, but they still had a go. They'll have a go there as well, but Sylvan will be too good.
Yeah, look, Croydon North, I mean, it's interesting. They know that they're the new kids on the block. They know what they're in for, but they're committed long term. I think like 4 or 5 years they want to get better as a team. So look, yeah, it's Sylvan today, but look, I'd expect Croydon North to be competitive as they were last week.
What about Kilsyth v Coldstream? Kilsyth, another side who have been disappointing, albeit they've had a lot of departures from the club there. Coldstream have a lot to play for. Is this another predictable result?
I think it is, but I think Coldstream have got to be careful. They can't treat them as if they've just got to walk out there and win. Kilsyth have been better the last couple of rounds. I think Coldstream, they've got to set themselves up. They've got to make this top 4, and it is competitive, so they've got to come out and win well today. I think they're going to win. Whether they win well, I'm not 100% sure, but I think they'll need to.
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be Coldstream pretty comfortably. Kilsyth, I think it was 2 weeks ago, they got out to a good start, actually. I think they even had the lead at one stage by a couple of points in the first quarter, but then the normal transmissions resumed. But yeah, I think it's going to be Coldstream too easy today.
Just lastly on Coldstream, Davo, they've been a side who have been working on the cusp of making that next step in Division 4. They just haven't quite been able to reach the top echelon of Division 4, but they've always been around the mark challenging for finals. So what's it going to take for them to take that next step?
I think the biggest issue they've had is that they've had injuries to key players, and that's really hurt them this year. They've got some really good young kids that are quick and run hard, and they've just not been able to get them all on the park at the one time, and some of the injuries have been like 6, 7 and 8 weekers, so that really hurts them. And I think their depth. If you have a look with the last time they came out here and they played East Burwood in the radio game, East Burwood reserves won by over 100 points, I think. So it really showed that they've got a lack of depth at the moment, but they're on the right track. And Chad's a good coach, and he knows what he's doing, and he's got the right structures in place. And again, they're going to be better as you go along, but this year they probably are, 3rd, 4th or 5th in the competition compared with the 2 that are running out there today.
Seems to be the tail of the tape for Coldstream over the last few seasons. The last game in Division 4 this afternoon, Nuttawading hosting Surrey Park. Will Nuttawading, the high-profile team, go here against the Surrey Park side, who themselves have had their own struggles in the past and probably can empathise with what Nuttawading have gone through over the last couple of years?
Yeah, definitely, but I think Surrey Park now have got that sniff. They know that there's 3rd place is up for grabs, and you can't allow games like these to get away from you. They've got to put the foot to the throat of Nuttawading and try and win big, just to continue on with the pressure that they put on the other sides around them. Nuttawading are always good and competitive at their ground. It is a difficult ground to play at, but once you get going, and I think they've just got too many big forwards at Surrey to get over the line. I think they'll win quite easily.
Yeah, look, I think it's a percentage booster here for Surrey this afternoon, but yeah, I'd take 5 or 6 goals at least.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Forest Hill have the bye just as we reach the midway point of the season. How have you seen their year so far, Davo, given they themselves were tipped to struggle by a lot of pundits with the amount of departures from their side? How do you think they've gone as they approach the bye? And they've got 2 weeks off. Does that affect them at all as well?
Well, it depends on how many injuries they've got, but I think they've certainly been better than I thought. But there's a real differential within this group, and you've got your couple in your top 2 or 3, then you've got your bottom 4, and then Forest Hill are just above those bottom 4. I think they're a year away from being real contenders for that final position. They need to get some more depth. They certainly need to recruit a few more, but they haven't been a disaster.
No.
And they will win. They could end up winning 8 or 9 games and missing out.
Yeah.
Purely because of the shape of the division. And the other thing is, and I haven't had a look at it, it all depends on who they play. They might play some of those bottom sides 3 times. Because remember, the draw is differentially weighted in that situation. So we'll see what happens there. But I think they're a year away.
Yeah, that's probably a fair point, although just on the 2-week break, just before we do head to our break of our own, with Forest Hill, is that a detriment to their season, having 2 weeks off, because it's an extra week compared to everyone else, and you're not as exactly match-hardened as the rest of the competition.
And as we said before with Stewie, at this time of the year, having 1 week's, might not be great. Having 2, it might be too much. It's a bit like I said, if you got the bye in round 18, you don't want that. A bye straight after a bye is not good either. So,
No.
And if they had the previous game they played was Kilsyth, which ended up being an easy win, I think.
Yeah.
So they've really, they've really not had much of a challenge for 3 weeks. So that could really hurt them.
It's like going back to work after a holiday. It takes a little while to ease in, that's for sure. That concludes our preview of the day's matches across the Eastern Football League from Premier Division down to Division 4. When we come back, we will commence our match of the day between East Burwood and Fairpark.
Well done, clear.
Thanks, mate.
The award-winning Crunch Time this morning from 11 on SEN.
When news happens, you'll hear it on Time On.
The pressure that is mounting on Essendon coach John Worsfold-Plough.
You're believing that he's seriously under the pump.
Yeah, I think he's coaching for his career in the next month. So if they lose their next 3 games, they would then go play to 5-9, which is, in your experience, just about curtains on September.
Yeah, look, I think 5-9's too far back. Not insurmountable, but probably have a really strong challenge at it.
Time On with Sam McClure. Weeknights from 6 on 11:16 SEN.
This season may be over, but the NBA action never stops. The stage is set on June 21 for the NBA Draft. Watch and see which teams draft the next generation of stars in the eye-popping fashion choices of this year's draft class. Then, catch the NBA Awards on June 25 to see who will take out this season's highest honours, the MVP, Rookie of the Year and more. Don't forget, with NBA League Pass, you can watch the NBA Draft, NBA Awards and Summer League live. Download the NBA app or visit NBA.com for details.
Hello, I'm Peter Hitchener. 9 News invites you to join our team nightly at 6 for Melbourne's #1 news. Tony Jones with the latest sport, including the footy, plus Lavinia Nixon's weather forecast. 9 News, proud supporter of the Eastern Football League.
Only 19 shots from 53 inside 50s, down on clearances and can't lay a tackle. What was the seniors coach going to do? Jono surprised himself and everyone else. The spray he gave the boys at halftime worked. Well, he did finish it by saying he'd shout him a post-game feed and frothies at Eastland if they won. For all of life and footy's little moments, there's Eastland, proud sponsors of the EFL. Eastland, live real.
You've all been to funerals of family members or friends, right? Do you start thinking about what you would want at your funeral? It's a bit like when you go to a wedding.
Yeah,
that's right. At what stage do you start planning?
Have an open and honest conversation with your loved ones. Celebrate your life the way you want, like I did with a fixed price funeral plan from Tobin Brothers Funerals. The price doesn't change and your life will be celebrated your way. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
When you're a tradie, time is money. And that makes it time to head to Robot Building Supplies, because Robot's got it. Steel, sleepers, wire mesh, timber, roofing, and more at the lowest prices. Like Corrie Roof Sheeting Zinc, in stock at $8.90 per metre, colour also available custom cut. Save time and money with Robot. Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. Call 1300 GO ROBOT or robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
Hello, I'm Rosie for the Family Peace Foundation. Last week, I did my first full handstand in the park. I've been practicing for months and was so excited. Mum missed it though, because she was looking at something on her phone. My dog Digger saw it, and he came running, wagging his tail, and we celebrated together. I wish Mum could have seen it. But like always, she was on her phone. Family Peace. Do it for your kids.
Impress clients, friends and colleagues with a premium experience at the MCG. Whether it's your own private suite or a table in a premium space, enjoy award-winning catering and premium beverages at Melbourne's biggest sporting events.
Coming up to 30 seconds.
Biggest cricket tournament in the world. The 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup is here, and you'll hear every ball live on SEN. Don't miss a moment of the action, with every game live on 1377 SEN Plus, as well as a designated channel on the SEN app. Plus, every Australian game live on 1116 SEN. He's caught it seconds left. Simmons Homes, building quality.
10 to the intro.
SEN is
welcome back, or welcome Eastern FM listeners to
SEN Footy, streaming live and exclusively on the all-new SEN app.
It's time for the match of the round. Let's cross to our team and go local for your footy.
Putting mics on now. And go.
Welcome back. This is EFL Game Day live from East Burwood Reserve. The match of the round, the top of the table clash in Division 4 between East Burwood and Fairpark. An overcast day, relatively cool, as you would expect in the middle of winter in Melbourne in June. As I welcome the remainder of our call team. Damien Watson with you incidentally, and let's introduce our call team for this afternoon. A big welcome for the first time on this Saturday to Brad Henderson, who will be providing his dulcet tones throughout the action. G'day, Brad.
Oh, thanks very much, Damo. They're not quite as dulcet as yours, let's be honest, but yeah, it's great to be here at East Burwood Reserve. Always a great place to call footy.
Oh, yeah.
I've said it before, you always seem to get good games of footy at this ground as well whenever the media team venture out here, and I'm expecting that again today. Top two on the ladder, both undefeated this year, so it should be an absolute cracker. You'd expect a really high quality contest between two good sides.
Your partner in crime this afternoon will be Steve White. Steve, who are you tipping for this encounter?
Oh, this is a hard one to pick for me. I reckon Fairpark might have the edge this afternoon. I mean, top of the table, split a hair between them. I'm going Fairpark by 2 goals.
Fair enough, and Brett Davidson will be in special comments this afternoon. Davo, you mentioned the fact that Fairpark, to an extent, are a taller side than East Burwood, and you can see the differential as the players are about to line up to their positions as they warm up in their respective 450s. Do you think that that's going to be a key pillar for Fairpark to favour their game plan this afternoon?
It certainly looks like it's going to be something that's going to be really valuable for them. They've got some very big boys out here for Fairpark, and we're not talking about tall, skinny kids. Like we know that where is he, Mr. Cowan? We've known him for a number of years. He's a tall, skinny bloke, but to tell you what, some of the other boys,
they're big, burly boys, aren't they?
Yeah, there's some big boys. Even Michael Keane, who we were told to have a look at as a midfielder, he's a very big midfielder. So. Yeah, look, they're going to really stretch East Burwood in that area, I think. But I just think East Burwood might have the better midfield that may get them over the line. And I still like East Burwood's forward half, which I think are really difficult to match up on. So I'm going for East Burwood, but it's going to be 2 goals or under.
Well, that's the point, Brad. Strength is one thing and power and physicality is another thing, but also you have to take into account the skill set, and East Burwood have been absolutely superlative with that so far this season.
Yeah, and the last time we saw them out here for the radio game against Coldstream, that was where they really had the edge, I thought, over Coldstream that day. Was the difference in skill and just the cleanness of their skills. Guys like Matty Mariani, who hardly ever turns the ball over, and they've got quite a few like that who really use the footy well. So that's what I'm going to be interested to see with Fairpark today. They physically look pretty imposing, as we've mentioned. I just want to see how well their skills stack up against a team like East Burwood, particularly under pressure. It's how well you use the footy when the heat's on. It's not just, sometimes teams, you watch them in the warm-up and the ball never hits the ground, but then in the pressure of the game they can turn the footy over. So we'll see how they go today. But like I said, I'm expecting a lot from both of these sides.
I must admit, it's been a long time since I've seen as big a shorts on a player as what I've seen on James Goff, but it would be at East Burwood, and it would be Adam Slater that probably wore shorts that size before, but he is a big man, isn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say, Dave, in my early days with the league, in the lowest division, it was quite uncommon to see 6 or 8 guys in a team with similar body shapes to James Goff. We don't see it a lot anymore, but he's certainly an imposing figure. That Kyle Hurd is a mountain of a man as well.
Isn't he?
He's a huge man too as well. So a bit of size in this Fairpark team.
Davo, how do the Fairpark defence line up on players of the calibre of Adrian Galino here?
He's a difficult man to line up on because of the fact that not only is he dangerous around goals, he's very, very smart. He's also one of those classic forwards. He's very confident in his own abilities, I suppose is a good way of putting it. And he will lead and play. He won't really care who he plays on. He will lead them up the ground. He turns them around really nicely. Beautiful on the ground, kicks both feet, and he's not bad in the air either. So he's a very difficult matchup. So I will be interested to see who they put on him, because they're going to need someone that's going to be able to be good in the air, on the ground, and also quick, and there's not a lot of them around.
Do they double team him in defence, or do you risk leaving another player loose? Because they have a decent amount of depth, East Burwood, in that forward half.
And that's the other key. They've got a number of players that can mark the ball in the forward half, that are strong. Young Neat's been really good in the forward line this year, and already having a look at the matchups, I can see that Nick Cowan has gone to a tall, and who has got, is it Ethan Tobias?
Looks like Brad Need.
Or Brad Need has gone to, and that's not a bad matchup actually. Need will certainly test him.
Yeah, Cowan's got the job on Handrick as well, so that's a key matchup. So we're just about ready to get underway, Steve, for the first quarter here at East Burwood Reserve.
So overcast conditions out here at East Burwood Reserve, and not much of a breeze of any to speak of across the ground, so pretty flat to start this game, as we talked about. First, playing second here in Division 4 on EFL Game Day, your match of the round here on 1377 SEN+, as Middleton will go up against Hurd in the ruck for their respective clubs here in the centre of the ground. Give that one there to Hurd. Ball goes straight to the deck. Zalumis piles on there for Fairpark, and we'll have take two with that ball up.
Well, certainly a mismatch down in the forward line with Goff at full forward. That's a big mismatch.
Hurd swats that one forward. Trying to get it on there was Temple there for Fairpark. We got a free kick for holding there. It's going the way of Fairpark. Temple's going to have the free kick just near the centre circle. Looking for options upfield. Hasn't got much on offer, so he just punts a kick that looked like it was partially smothered into the man on the mark. Gould goes in there for Burwood, putting it onto the foot there was Keem. His grubber kick now goes in towards a congested forward line, turning around the body, and a quick snap there by McKendry, and he's got the first goal of the game, 47 seconds in for Fairpark, and they take the lead, 1 straight 6, leading East Burwood yet to score.
That was a great snap goal, but it was also set up by Goff, because if you ever look at the contest that he made just before their boy picked up ball up, he was coming at the pack pretty hard, and they moved away considerably.
Well, Ronnie McKendry, first goal of the game for Fairpark. He kicked 10 goals back in round 1, McKendry, so he's been very damaging up forward this year for Fairpark in that imposing forward line that they've turned out in most games. And he's got the Lions off to a good start as Middleton goes up against Hurd once more. Matthew Mariani's long kick looking for Galino, but it was Brad Need who got to the ball first and went with the handball close to the boundary line and over the line for a throw-in. So Brad Need will have his hands full with Galino, of course. And he's usually a pretty good starter to games, Adrian Galino. Often comes out of the blocks early. So boundary throw-in. No one able to get a clean possession initially. Then Davis got boot to ball. He bounces it along the forward pocket. Handball was shot out by Zalumis. Tackle there by Temple. Quick kick by Anthony Mariani. High up and under kick to full forward. Neat in the box seat. Almost took possession. Strong tackle applied by Angemi and also Galeno, that time on Dunn. And Jack Dunn had nowhere to go then. He was caught red-handed holding the ball. So which player will get the free kick? It will be Andre Angemi. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Former Knox, pretty sure he was a premiership player a couple of years ago at Knox. You'd expect him to kick this goal. And he's hung it out to the left, and he really stabbed at that then. So minus score for East Burwood. They're one behind Fairpark, a 1-6. So a 5-point lead to Fairpark on the Eastland scoreboard, coming up to 3 minutes gone in the first quarter.
Appears to bring the footy back in now here for Fairpark. Players pretty well covered. Puts this one onto the left foot up towards the forward flank. Middleton racing in from the side, but the mark's going to be paid there to Mullocks. Alex Mullocks, leading goal kicker for Fairpark this year. You can see both clubs wearing the Fight MND, Soccer to MND socks, as is the round. Oh, collected hard there. Going in for the footy was Rixton, and this will be a ball up here just on the half forward flank here for Fairpark. So Middleton to do the rucking again against Hurd. Hurd wins that tap, tries to look for it there to Temple, put it onto the right boot, just pops up now into the pocket. Goff, the target's going to go here to Rixton, and that's going to go out of play, and we'll have a boundary throw in the forward pocket here for Fairpark.
That's a big ask for young Eddie Rixton to go on to Goff and curtail him, but they're probably hopeful that he might be able to run off him.
Big figuratively and literally there, Davo. They'll see at least giving up probably 20-30 kilograms, I'd say. Here's Middleton winning the tap. He taps that one down, looking there for Davis. And Rixton applied the tackle. And we've got a free kick, I believe. Nope, it's going straight back to the umpire. And a ball up. So 4:15 played here in this first term out at East Burwood Reserve. One straight 6 plays, 1 behind. Fairpark with a 5-point lead. And again, we'll have another ball up. Ball locked in the forward line of Fairpark. We get 21 games across the Eastern Football League this afternoon as you go local for your footy here on 1377 SEN+. Going in there was Gould. It's sprayed out now here towards the 50-metre line. Couldn't take it there with Keane. Went off the ground. Good tackle applied there by Mariani. A stiff probably not to win a free kick, but he got the handball out regardless. Neat tries to pick it up off the deck. Got plenty of Fairpark players to deal with. It spills out now here to Angemi, and got a free kick here.
Gee.
And we might have it going back the other way.
Yes.
Yeah,
free kick to Scott Davis, and he gave one to Hurd while he was on the ground. And Hurd's pushed him back.
So the pendulum swinging both ways there in terms of the free kicks. And this one taken by Stratos Delgiris.
And Scott Davis had a look at the size of Hurd and went, I'm not going to go back there again.
Delgiris has kicked to half-back. Well played, though, by Wills. Kept his feet. Little boot along the ground. And Jemmy copped a high one. And no, in fact, it's gone the other way. Free kick going to Fairpark for a trip. So, surprising decision. Kick by Delgiris up towards half forward. Handball was shot out into open space now. Well played then by McKendry. Fairpark move it forward. Player going to ground. And Stafford, there's a little bit going on behind the play. Steve, you're pointing out, yeah. The bit of a scuffle in the middle.
Couple of swings, couple of decent swings in there.
The umpire's right on the scene there, so he's keeping a watching brief. Nobody got a yellow card then. This is Kennedy. Jason Kennedy's kick, looking for Handrick. Plenty of Fairpark defenders worked their way back. It was Pearce who got to it first. His handball, though, was an errant one, was intercepted by Kennedy. This is promising from the Rams. Mariani takes possession, tries to get around Bevis Chedji, couldn't quite do it. Mariani shoots the handball back to Perry. Stephen Perry's kick to the goal square, and the kick just didn't have the legs on it. It was fisted through back there by Jeffries, and a minus score for East Burwood. They're 2 behinds. Fairpark a 1-6.
I think the message has gone out from the Fairpark group is to let's really put it to East Burwood physically and see how they match it at this stage, because there's been a lot of really hot contests in this first 6 minutes.
And a fair bit going off the ball as well, as Pearce's kick now comes out towards this half-forward flank, and a good mark. Strong Duke's taken at the back there by Maxie Wills. He goes back and surveys the forward line, puts it onto the right boot. It might drop short here now for Neat. And he couldn't take the mark. Well read there by Temple. He kicks this one up towards the centre square. One-on-one contest. Couldn't win it there, could Gould. Neither could his brother, but his brother eventually wins it and gets it out by a hand pass. And away come the Rams to the forward line looking for Kennedy. Just took the mark here, about 75 from home. Out here on the wing, near side of the ground now here for East Burwood. Goes in short, finds Gould of the Matthew variety. Just takes the mark inside the boundary line. Decides to play on, puts it onto the right boot. Target there, I think, was Middleton, and that went really astray and ended up there in the midst of Bevis Chedji. And he'll go back in his own back pocket, puts this one onto the right boot. Now up towards centre wing, and an uncontested mark there for Stafford. And he decides to play on. Stafford now puts it in towards the forward 50 now here for East Burwood. Neat the target, couldn't take the mark. Need's in there as well. Neat picks it off the deck. It's run into there by Pearce. Good tackle from him. The ball pops out now and away come Fairpark down the far side wing through Colosimo. Puts it onto the right boot, and a great kick and a good mark there by McKendry, the goal scorer. Hands this one off. It's a kick onto the right boot. It might dribble through, and it does. Fairpark's second of the afternoon. And that will take them to 2 straight 12. They lead East Burwood 2 behinds. Second goal of the afternoon there for McKendry.
You're not going to see better transition football than that then. And the key was the kick. It was a magnificent kick out to McKendry. And, gee, didn't he put the afterburners on when he got it? And it was actually a very smart kick at goal. He kept it low. Could see that there was no one in the square instead of just blazing away. So, nice start to the Lions at this stage. They've been good around the contest. I like Temple at the moment. He's worked really hard. East Burwood have been a bit sloppy going forward. Haven't used the ball as well as what they could have.
So 10-point lead to Fairpark coming up to the 9-minute mark of the first quarter. And the kick there smothered from the boot of Tobias. Handball shot out then from Lockie Gould. And they've got a free kick again, Fairpark in the middle. No, in fact, sorry, it's going the other way to East Burwood with Perry. So Stephen Perry hands it off to Gould. Lockie Gould got around pretty easily that time, then boots it forward. Galeno the target. Need got the important fist away that time. And Colosimo there led the race to the ball and takes it over the boundary line for a throw-in. There's still a lot of niggle off the ball between players from both sides. So boundary throw-in. East Burwood looking still for their first goal of the game. Bit of holding on in the contest. Umpire says advantage, and Davis takes the advantage and makes full use of it. Kicks East Burwood's first, and the margin is back to just 4 points.
They're always difficult when the ball in is a little bit shorter than what you expect. Sometimes it's difficult for the ruckman to keep the position that they had. It was an infringement, and Davis certainly took advantage of that. It has got a little bit of a feeling of a finals game, though, doesn't it, with the intensity around the contest all over the ground at the moment.
The advantage is paid, Davo, when it's plays continuous, but is it really continuous when absolutely everybody else stopped on the whistle except for Davis, who picked up the ball and ran in and kicked the goal?
That's a good point, and certainly that isn't the case. It should have been brought back.
So that was Scott Davis's 9th goal of the season. The tap out of centre, one there by Hurd. It runs into a congested centre square area, but the ball pops out now here to East Burwood. Good handball there by Troy McGowan. They managed to come away here, do the Rams. A chip there over the top, intended there for Mulqueen, and it's gone all the way over the boundary line. Boundary throw it. Just near side of the ground, half forward flank here for East Burwood. As we talked about, 21 games across the Eastern Football League here on 1377 SCN Plus, or streaming around the globe, efl.org.au. As Middleton v Hurd again in the ruck. Give that one there to Middleton. It's tapped out. Looking for it was Colosimo. Diving in was Gould. Fairpark managed to fist this ball forward. Comes, sprays out into the ring. Mulqueen let it go. As Burwood now, Perry gets a handball over the top now here to Middleton. Gets it back, and then Perry puts this one onto the left. It's a mongrel punt in towards the forward line, and we've got a free kick, and it's going the way of East Burwood. I think it was a push out.
Paid downfield.
Oh, down.
Bump on Perry after he kicked it.
Okay. So we got a down the field, and it's in the hands of that man there, Adrian Galeno. And he'll go back and look for his first of the afternoon.
Yeah, look, they hurt when you give those ones away. And again, it's maybe the umpires having a look and saying, let's see if we can just control it a little bit at this stage.
Because it was borderline, wasn't it?
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
So Galeno walks in from about 35 out. Stutter step, puts it onto the left. It's straight through the middle. His 49th goal of the season, team leading, and it is East Burwood's second of the afternoon, 2-2-14. They take the lead. Fairpark, 2 straight 12 minutes gone here on the Eastland scoreboard.
And look, while you'd be disappointed as a Fairpark coaching staff, they'd be disappointed to give away 2 goals after being 2 up. I think they've probably scored their goals in a better fashion than the East Burwood, but East Burwood have taken their opportunities, and that's what you have to do when you're playing 1v2.
2-point lead to the Rams. They have hit the front, courtesy of that goal by Adrian Galeno, his first of the afternoon. And as Steve White mentioned, his 49th of the season in having a terrific 2019 campaign. Quick kick out of the middle was by Dunn. Long, searching kick looking for Goff. Rams have plenty of defenders back there. Griffiths, as soon as he grabbed the footy, he was set upon. Ball on the deck. And Bennett there, I think it is, who's all wrapped up by Griffiths. And he hands the ball back to the umpire.
That's what you want to see, is good forward pressure when the ball gets in there, doesn't get run out easily.
So Goff doing the ruck work this time. He was pushed out, and the free kick there has gone the way of James Goff. Not a popular decision amongst the East Burwood defenders, but Goff, who started the season like a house on fire last year, hasn't probably been... Well, how many goals has he
17 this year.
Yeah, so not kicking the big bags that he was early in the season last year. So James Goff is a left footer, not far out from goal. He was pretty well straight in front. He made that look as easy as it should have been. And a Fairpark kick there, third. So 3 goals on the board now for Fairpark. East Burwood at 2-2-14. It's a 4-point lead to the Lions, and it's a pretty good game of footy early, this one, here at East Burwood.
It is, and look, he's a danger because purely his size, and if he puts himself in enough dangerous situations, then players that are smaller than him are going to try and get an advantage in any way they can, and often that's illegally. So that was there. He went up in the ruck. He got knocked out of the contest in the ruck before necessary. So a free kick that was there. He's going to be a danger down there. That's a real mismatch in that situation.
So just waiting for the ball to come back to the centre. It finally does so. 14 and a half minutes played here in this first term out at East Burwood Reserve. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. Here's the tap out now. Hurt wins the tap out. Looking in for it there was Dolgeris. Spills out now. Quick handball over the top there from Davis. Footy in dispute, and trying to get that one again was Dolgeris, but it comes back now the other way to Griffiths here for East Burwood. He's met pretty solidly. Players pile in. Looks like we're going to have a free kick going here towards the Rams, going to Griffiths. And he'll take this one dead on centre wing, far side of the ground, puts it onto the right boot up and towards the half-forward line. Target there was Brett Handrick. Ball goes to ground and over the boundary line. We'll have a boundary throw-in. So 4 points the margin. Boundary throw-in on the far side of the ground. Free kick now. Okay. Going now here to Fairpark. Out towards centre wing. The kick almost chopped off there by Mulqueen. He fists this one over the boundary line. Boundary throw-in. And don't forget this afternoon, 5 o'clock, the post-game show will bring you all the results and match reports from around the grounds. And don't forget also tomorrow, EFL Game Day returns, 10 o'clock here on 1377 SEN+. We'll speak to some of the winning coaches and wrap up all the action from around the Eastern Footy League. As a high up and under kick in towards the half-forward line. Handrick couldn't take the mark. Good spoil from behind there by Nick Cowan. And the ball goes over the boundary line.
That's going to be a great contest, that one, I think, those two. They both are good in the air. They both run well. Stafford's now had to go into the ruck because Middleton's gone onto the bench, so that'll be interesting to see how he goes.
So Stafford, handball out there by Davis. Here's a kick up towards half-forward. Couldn't take it in there, could Perry. It was punched away from him. The handball comes out over the top there, trying to get rid of it quickly. There was Keem. It's kicked up towards centre wing, now in towards the Fairpark side of the ground, attacking side of the ground. Going in there was Fabrizio, and as is Bennett for Fairpark, but we'll have a ball up. Yanni Griffiths. Oh, he got a free kick.
He's paid a holding the ball decision just late on the football.
Yep, Fabrizio with the short pass. Now they're off and running The Lions long kick to full forward. Goff in the box seat. Did well that time. He had the right position against Rixton, and once Goff was in that front position, there was nothing Eddie Rixton could do to get around him.
Just really good use of the body to protect the ball drop then, and was just able to hold on to it. And this is a key matchup, this one.
So Goff has already kicked one in this quarter just a couple of minutes ago. This for his second. James Goff in the number 99 Guernsey. Left footer, walks in. Easy as you like, split the middle, and he's got his second goal on the board. So the Lions are 4 goals straight. They've got their kicking boots on today, that is for sure. East Burwood at 2-2-14. It's a 10-point lead to Fairpark, a couple of minutes out from time on.
And Stewie Wine made mention of the fact that last year Fairpark beat East Burwood here. And Goff starred, so he's already had a good start, and they've struggled to find the matchup for him at this stage, and they may have even moved Rixton. I'll just have a look to see, because they've got to find someone that can get on him and just you can't outbody him. You just got to be able to run and jump at the contest.
So Stafford into the ruck now, as is Cowan here for Fairpark. It comes out now here to Temple, puts it onto the left in the Goff direction. We've got a free kick, and it's going the way of Fairpark. Straight in front, didn't see what that was for.
It was after the contest.
Yeah, I think it was paid downfield again. Temple, after he kicked the ball.
Oh, and Jimmy, yeah.
Got a push in the back, so.
As it was, it went to Goff and he took the mark anyway. So this could be his third in
2 minutes.
Five minutes.
So Goff, dead in front, about 45-50 from home. He strolls in, puts it onto the left. Oh, and he hasn't missed today. Third goal of the afternoon for James Goff. That's his 20th on the season. And Fairpark, 5 straight 30, leading East Burwood 2-2-14.
It was a bit of a floater that time, but it still split the middle. It still went straight over the goal umpire's head.
It was an unusual kick, wasn't it, Brad? Because it did float, but it had some serious speed on the float. It was quite an unusual kick. They've got a really different matchup here in the middle once they throw Cowan in there, because Keane's such a big midfielder that it's like they've got two large midfielders in the contest.
Well, handy buffer opened up here by Fairpark, heading into time on. 16 points the lead. Back in the middle, Cowan now doing the ruck work against Stafford. There's a free kick for a push in the back. It will go to Matty Mariani. Drives the ball forward, looking for Galeno over his head, and well judged there by Brad Need. Had that kick well scouted, and he clears the ball up towards the wing position. Handball shot out by Bennett. Dulgera should get to it first. He just couldn't quite gather it in. Rixton out of defence for East Burwood, high up and under kick, looking for Handrick, palmed the ball down nicely, the kick off hands, the goal has been kicked by McGowan. That was beautifully sharked that time. The little palm came down to Joel McGowan, and pretty well off one step, he fired at the goals and he made good of it. The margin back to 10 points.
That's as good a front and centre piece of work as you'll see, and Handrick was excellent then. He actually did palm that ball, didn't try and mark it, knocked it down to advantage, and while it floated through, it was a good
finish.
A really nice finish. Unfortunately, they turned the football over in the wing there, Fairpark, because they had it one out. They just didn't get the bounce of the ball.
So Troy McGowan's 6th goal of the season is is East Burwood's 3rd this afternoon, 3-2-20. Plays 5 straight 30. Fairpark with the lead of 10 points. The kick now in towards the forward 50 now here for Fairpark. Rixton was first to the ball. Yanni Griffiths there gives a pretty good shoulder. He's met solidly there by a man twice his size in James Goff, and we'll have, looks like a free kick going here towards East Burwood. So they move this one out of defence. So down the wing side, it goes over everyone's head, and looks like we've got a whistle as well.
It's been a lot of free kicks in this first quarter. And I think that's where Fairpark coaching staff will be disappointed, because they've given away a lot of clumsy free kicks.
Talking about clumsy, that kick was very ordinary, but roved here by Anjumai. Taking it by hand, in come the Rams in towards the full forward direction, looking there for O'Brien, couldn't take the mark. Cowan, he's met by 2 East Burwood, but good tackle, and the pressure coming here from the Rams. Good handball out there from Pearce. He finds Need, and he puts this one onto the right boot, up towards centre wing. 1v2 in favour of East Burwood, as Stafford looking for the crumbs, managed to get the hand pass over the top, but it's swatted out of the air there by Colosimo. And looks like he got one in the back. Play continues. Stafford wins the footy, puts it onto the right boot. All Fairpark at the back. And they take a pretty comfortable mark here through Michael Keem. Moves it quickly now here to Pearce. Puts it on to the left in towards the centre of the ground. 2-on-2 contest. Good jukes over the top. Taken there. I think that was Cam Banks. And he puts this one onto the right. A mongrel kick there. Going back with the flight there. Picked up by Goff. Goff looking for the hand pass out wide. Gets it out now here to a teammate onto the right boot. Is it going through the middle? Yes, it is! 6 straight there. I think that was Stephen Colosimo. And 6 straight goals here from Fairpark. 6:36. They lead East Burwood 3-2-20. 22 minutes gone here in the first term on the Eastland scoreboard.
And again, Goff was involved in that with a 20-metre Greg Williams-like handball out of the contest. And that was a great snap. That was a good 45-metre snap. And they're dangerous out on that area. Colosimo's been really good in that area. So and McKendry out on that far side. So that's a dangerous area to go to at the moment for Fairpark.
Well, super impressive start this by the Lions. 6 goals straight on the board. There's still plenty of time left in the first quarter. We're just about to tick over into 23 minutes gone in the first term. So they lead by 16 points. East Burwood 3-20 at this stage. And it's so physical around the footy. And this time no free kick paid, but there's players going down everywhere.
Yeah, there could have been 2 or 3 paid there if it was like what they have paid already. So, interesting.
Stafford against Cowan. Cowan won the tap. Handball out to Davis. Clever handball by him to Anthony Mariani. Bounces the ball forward. Galeno missed it this time. Handrek tries to get boot to ball. Wills is there as well. Neat, in fact, it was. He dives in. Reached in beautifully then Lewis Neat to grab the ball, but then lost a handle on it. And a strong tackle there by Zalumis, who has ditched the long sleeve Guernsey that he started the game with. And we'll have a ball up deep in East Burwood's forward line. Handrek against Cowan. Cowan won the tap, but it was straight into the hands of Matty Mariani. And he tried to go with a bit of a check side kick. Under pressure, he was just off target, and minor score for East Burwood.
Yeah, it was almost goal of the day contender there for Matty Mariani. But Pearce to bring the footy back in now here for Fairpark. 15 points to margin, 24 minutes played here on the Eastland scoreboard. Term number 1, just a short stabbing kick. Indecision there. The kick was intended there for Bevis Chedji. Made a real meal of it. And East Burwood swarm and locked the ball in to the forward 50. And, indecision there by Brad Need and Bevis Chedji. So ball up now. Cowan into the ruck, wins it over the top. It's punched out now here towards the boundary line, going in hard for the footy. There was Kennedy, and a good tackle there from Mariani. And high, says the umpire, and he's given away a free kick here towards Fairpark. And taking the free kick now here will be Ethan Tobias.
So the lesson here is that if you're going to be second into the contest, you've got to be smart.
Well, Middleton flying over the top, taken by a man similar to his stature in Stafford. He pumps a long kick in towards the forward line. It might spill out the back now here for Galeno. Can't take it cleanly. Need pumps this one off the ground soccer style. Gets this one out now, looking for a teammate in Tobias. Got it off the ground as Fairpark go backwards to go forwards. Back now here to Tobias, and he puts it onto the right boot in towards the centre of the ground. Punched out there by Mulqueen. A couple of fair East Burwood players collide, that being Gould. But it's coming out now here to Colosimo. Colosimo down the far side of the ground and towards the Goff direction. Comes off hands, bounces in towards the goal square. Cracking around the body, there was McKendry looking for goal number 3, just the minor score. And Fairpark's first behind of the afternoon, 6-1-37. They lead East Burwood 3-3-21, 25 minutes played.
And that Colosimo-McKendry combination is looking dangerous again, isn't it? They're going that side.
Matty Gould brings the ball in to Lepore. Ryan Lepore's handball over the top to Rixton. McGowan now off that left foot up towards the wing position. Big fly from Handrek. Couldn't quite drag in the mark. Keem was well wrapped up in the tackle. And it will be a ball up. True centre wing position. 26 and a half minutes gone in the first quarter here. Fairpark lead by 16 points, I should say. Handball there out to Perry. Stephen Perry got it to Matty Mariani. Kennedy's quick kick forward, looking for Neat. Good spoil by Need. Matty Mariani swoops on the ball, fires at the goals, and it's just off to the right, but in any event it was fisted through then by Bevis Chedji, who made sure that it wouldn't be a goal, and another minus score for East Burwood, who are peppering the goals at the moment. 3-4-22, Fairpark 6-1-37 on the Eastland scoreboard.
So Pearce again to bring the footy back in now here for Fairpark. As we approach the end of the first term, here's a long probing kick out towards the edge of the centre square. Plenty of players there. It evades everyone nearly. Middleton now does the roving. Gets a quick handball over there to his teammate in Davis. It comes back out now in towards the forward 50. Trying to take the mark there was Handrick. Couldn't get a clean touch. Big solid bump there from Mariani. Cleaned up his man, and we got a free kick going towards Handrick. He plays it on quickly now. Quick hands off to McGowan. The kick in towards Galeno. Just couldn't take it on the second bite. He's appealing for a free kick, but that's going to be a boundary throw in.
Unusual, appealing for a free kick. Adrian Galeno. It's
I shouldn't have said it, just goes without saying.
It does. It does.
So boundary throw in deep in the forward pocket now here for East Burwood. Taking this one out off the group, but it's come straight back underneath, and we'll have a ball up in that same spot. 37 plays 22 here on EFL game day. East Burwood and Fairpark, match of the round. As players pile in, trying to take it there was Galeno, but he's pretty well smothered. And a good tackle applied there by Bevis Chedji.
I think they're a little bit more dangerous around the contest, East Burwood, at the moment. They're getting their hands on the football a little bit more than Fairpark.
So Cowan gives it the double hand tap, looking there for Need. Diving in there was Mariani, and he just escorts the ball over the boundary line. So boundary throw here, probably 5, 10, 15 out from the goal.
I was just going to say, Steve, it's probably the first lull in play we've really had in this whole first quarter. So boundary throwing, Neat there, tries to grab the ball. Got it out, and ball going nowhere. So again, another stoppage in that forward pocket. But yeah, it's been a real sort of high-octane game so far up until the last couple of minutes. Umpire throws it up. Close to the boundary line, off the ground by Galeno, and he put it out on the full. Not sure really what he was trying to do there. He was never going to get the goal from there.
Go in the Dacos pocket.
So Jesse Pearce, hard up against the behind post. He's a left footer. He'll look to clear the area here. It's a bit of a floater, but worked out okay. Landed on the ample chest there of Michael Keane. So Keane has the ball at half back. Wants to hand it off. Does so now. Back to Pearce. Long kick by Pearce to the wing position. Massive pack of players camped under that footy. And it was Cam Banks there who ended up with it. But it will be a ball up. Wing position. Hurd to compete this time against Middleton. Middleton won the tap. Tackle there on Tobias. Aggressively going in was Keane, then shot out the handball to Hurd. Strongly tackled by Anjemi, and it will be another ball up.
I think this is key. That Keane's gone off for a break now. I think that's his first break from being on ball the entire quarter, so he's worked incredibly hard for the full quarter.
And just as he does take that well-earned break, the siren sounds to end the first term. A 30-minute quarter it was, and a Fairpark lead at quarter time, 6-1-37 to East Burwood 3-4-22 on the Eastland scoreboard. James Goff kicked 3 goals in that quarter. Ronnie McKendry kicked a couple as well for Fairpark, and all single goal kickers for East Burwood to this stage.
So that'll wrap it up here for the first term out at East Burwood Reserve. Fairpark 37 leading East Burwood 22. Here you're listening to 1377 SEN Plus. We'll be back with more right after this.
The Kids Edition. Footy for kids.
And you clear 4 minutes.
Target's mid-season event is now on with 20% off kids' denim jeans. That's 20% off a huge range of kids' denim jeans at Target. Offer ends June 26. Exclusions apply.
Weekly, Monday from 9 on SEN.
This season may be over, but the NBA action never stops. The stage is set on June 21 for the NBA draft. Watch and see which teams draft the next generation of stars and the eye-popping fashion choices of this year's draft class. Then, catch the NBA awards on June 25 to see who will take out this season's highest honours, the MVP, Rookie of the Year and more. Don't forget, with NBA League Pass, you can watch the NBA draft, NBA awards and Summer League live. Download the NBA app or visit NBA.com for details.
The only thing I would think about is who I'd be buried next to. I mean, that would matter to me.
Well, that's pre-planning because you'll need to get the plots next to each other.
Yeah, that's true. They're good conversations to have, aren't they? Because they give you a reference point if you've had no clear instruction or conversation.
Have an open and honest conversation. Celebrate your life the way you want, like I did, with a fixed price funeral plan from Tobin Brothers Funerals. The price doesn't change and your life will be celebrated your way. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Hello, I'm Peter Hitchener. 9 News invites you to join our team nightly at 6 for Melbourne's #1 news. Tony Jones with the latest sport, including the footy, plus Lavinia Nixon's weather forecast. 9 News, proud supporter of the Eastern Football League.
The senior coach has taken the team to Eastland for a post-game feed. If only they had this kind of teamwork on the field. They've just ordered starters to share, plus frothies for the whole table. And now Steve-O's chucked a prawn to Macca. He circled back. Yes! Straight into his pie hole. Yo, beauty! Good form, boys. For all of life and footy's little moments, there's Eastland. Proud sponsors of the EFL. Eastland. Live real.
Hello, I'm Rosie for the Family Peace Foundation. Last week, I did my first full handstand in the park. I've been practicing for months and was so excited. Mum missed it though, because she was looking at something on her phone. My dog Digger saw it, and he came running, wagging his tail, and we celebrated together. I wish Mum could have seen it, but like always, she was on her phone. Family Peace. Do it for your kids.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a robot at home to mow your lawn and wash the car? At least you've got Robot Building Supplies at work. Steel, sleepers, wire mesh, timber, roofing and more. Robot's got it at the lowest prices, like square and round tubing in prime and gal. Starting from $14.70 for 20 by 20 by 1.6 prime tube 6.5 metres long. Robot, Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. Call 1300-GO-ROBOT or order at robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
Do you hold a current full Victorian motorcycle or scooter licence and want to earn some extra cash? Scooty! Melbourne's new two-wheeled taxi service is here.
Just in a minute.
He is looking for motor scooter drivers to beat.
I'm going to get, I'll get Clint Stanaway up during the first break of half-time.
.com.au today.
40 seconds to go.
King Machine. Scooty. Delivering people.
Hi, Craig Lowndes here. It doesn't matter whether I'm belting around a racetrack at 300 clicks or driving quietly down to the local shops with a family. There's always a lot riding on my tyres. And while I don't choose the tyres for my race car, I do choose Tyre Power to look after the tyres on my family car. Tyre Power give me absolute peace of mind with expert advice, a great range of big tyre brands to choose from, and the very best service. Yet more reasons why I get the power at Tyre Power. Seriously? Why would you buy your tyres anywhere else?
AFL Nation, Carlton versus Western.
Here we go. Mike's back on. Mike's on and go.
And welcome back to EFL Game Day here on 1377 SEN+. We're out here at East Burwood Reserve for the match of the day, where it's Fairpark 6-1-37, leading East Burwood 3-4-22. Also simulcast here on 98.1 Radio Eastern. Hope all the listeners are enjoying the coverage here this afternoon. Goal kickers here for Fairpark: James Goff with 3, Ronald McKendry with 2, and Steve Colosimo with 1. And for East Burwood, all single goal kickers: McGowan, Davis and Adrian Galino, all with 1. Don't forget to tune in at 5 o'clock this afternoon. The post-game show will have all the results from around the Eastern Footy League. Let's go to Brett Davidson and Brad Henderson. Your take on that first quarter of play.
Great quarter of football, high intensity, really tough at the contest. Certainly was a differing situation where you had the big fella Goff at centre half forward for Fairpark, who was able to direct play, and they went through him and his big hands and his beautiful kicking. When the ball went out onto the left flank, again we talked about it a number of times, Colossima on the wing was excellent, and McKendry was dangerous with his foot skills. I just thought that East Burwood started to get a little bit more on top around the contest, got it forward, but they weren't as clean when they went forward. So, East Burwood's their first real challenge for the year, I think, and we'll see how they respond in the second quarter.
7 scoring shots apiece for the two sides, but yeah, Fairpark certainly made better use of theirs. They didn't really look like missing either. Most of those shots at goal, as I said about James Goff, they all split the middle. East Burwood a little bit wasteful. They did miss a couple of opportunities which were not sitters by any means, but certainly were gettable, and as a result that's where the 15-point margin comes in.
So 15 points indeed the margin. We're about to get ready here for quarter number 2 here on EFL Game Day. Don't forget also tomorrow 10 o'clock EFL Sunday. Join us here on 1377 SCN Plus, hosted by Brad Henderson. And we're about to get underway.
Thanks very much, Steve. And it's Hurd against Middleton in the first ruck contest of the second quarter. Strong tackle then on Lockie Gould. I think the advantage, no, it won't be paid here. It'll have to come back to Lockie Gould for East Burwood. So he's very indecisive here. He just goes laterally in the end. Went with the short pass to Lepore. In fact, that was Matthew Gould, his brother. So Matty Gould's long kick, but nice mark back there by Hurd. Crunched the pack, big Kyle Hurd. Doesn't waste any time. Lovely looking kick, and he spotted up his teammate then in Mullix. We heard Sean Stanton extolling the virtues of Alex Mullix's kicking ability in the pre-game. Mullix's kick this time wasn't a bad one, inside for forward 50. Thumping kick out of defence by Kennedy up towards true centre half forward position. Hurd again gets involved. He's got pretty good agility for such a big man. He was bumped off his kick that time. Griffiths paddled it to Stafford. Stafford's handball to Davis. Ambitious handball from Davis looking for Griffiths. Attacking the footy then was Dulgaris. Handed it off to Dunn. Dunn tries to burst his way through a couple of would-be tacklers. Gave it to Mercer. Mercer now with the kick around the corner. Good mark by Mullix. He was in the box seat there against Davis and safely takes the mark.
I'll tell you what, I think he's right. I've seen him have 2 or 3 kicks already, and he's a beautiful kicker of the football. Now that he's going to have a shot for goal, it's going to go out of bounds on the full. But he certainly is a beautiful kick, and that was a pressure mark then. That was a difficult mark, pressure on him, and he took it well.
So Alex Mullix hasn't hit the scoreboard so far today. This for his first. And distance shouldn't be a problem, given that we know he is a prodigious kick. Walks in now. Certainly looked good off the boot, floated nicely, but he just started it slightly left and didn't miss by much, but a minor score there for Fairpark. They move on to 6-2-38, East Burwood 3-4-22.
So Griffiths brings the ball back in to Max Wills. He kicks it down the line looking for Mariani. Good mark. Going back with the flight and going to ground, and it takes this one on, just inside the centre wing area. As that one fisted over there by Michael Keem, and we'll have a boundary throw in half forward flank here for East Burwood.
There's a sort of a nothing kick, because when he kicked down, it was 1 on 5 then, and that was always going to be defended out of bounds.
So boundary throw in, 16 points to margin out here at East Burwood Reserve. In comes the boundary throw. It's a little short. Cowan couldn't get a hand to it. Keem lays the tackle there on Perry, and he ends up on the bottom, and the ball will end up in the hands of the umpire.
He's very physical in there, isn't he, Keane? I really like the way he goes about his footy. He's a bit of an old junkyard dog sort of footballer.
Hendrick wins the tap. East Burwood lose the footy, though. It comes out now here towards the half-forward flank. Well taken there by Mullix. Turns around, puts it onto the right, into the attacking forward line now here for Fairpark. A one-on-one contest. Goff was out-muscled, and a great job there done by Rixton. As the ball, though, they've turned it over, and Colosimo has it now here for Fairpark on the edge of the centre square. Turns around, puts it onto the right. 1v2 contest, almost winning it. There was McKendry, but he's won a free kick. And McKendry's going to take the footy now at about a 45 out, tight angle, and he'll be looking for goal number 3 here on the afternoon.
How many times are we going to say that again?
Yeah.
Colosimo McKendry. I mean, that was a beautiful kick to him then.
So McKendry's kick off the right. It's just a little to the...
Got it.
Oh, he's got it right. Straight through the middle. Looked like it was drifting towards the near side. That's his 3rd of the afternoon, and it extends the lead here of Fairpark. 28 goals on the year now for Ronald McKendry. 7-2-44 plays East Burwood 3-4-22. They've doubled the score with 4 minutes in.
And that's where they're dangerous at the moment, because they've got the big forward who they can go to and feed off, and then they've got McKendry, who is such a quick mover, good overhead, and as we've seen already, he's a beautiful kick of the football. So for me, that's the danger side for Eastwood. They cannot allow the ball to go. They've got to sit on Colosimo and stop him getting the feed ball into those forwards.
22-point lead now for Fairpark. Can East Burwood respond? Kennedy got the handball out to Middleton. He gave it to Anjemi. Gets around a couple of tacklers, throws it on the boot. Anjemi's kick, fisted away into the path of Temple. Didn't panic then, he gathered it in nicely, but then his kick was a poor one. Out of bounds on the full. And the free kick will go to Perry, Anthony Perry, for East Burwood. So it's going to have to come back. Anthony Perry at half back here for the Rams. He'll go down the line with the kick. Not a lot to kick to. Hendrick was probably a pretty good option. And Jemmy gathers it in now. He did well then, hard up against the boundary line in very confined space. Got it to Davis. Davis's kick forward. Middleton had a lot of that ball. Couldn't quite drag in the mark. Sock it off the ground now. Stephen Perry swoops on the footy. Good tackle by Bevis Chedji. In fact, the umpire said he went a little bit high over the shoulder. But I like the fact that he... like rugby players do, he watched the hips and pinned his hips, then got the tackle. Just went a little bit high in the end. Anthony Perry went by hand to Anjemi, who's been very lively in this second term. Jack Dunn, who's always a good user of the footy, goes short to Mercer, and Fairpark will clear once more as they lead by 22 points, 6 minutes into the second quarter.
So Mercer's kick out of defence up towards centre wing. It's a one-on-one contest. At the back there was Mullix, couldn't take the mark, goes into the interchange bench. We'll have a boundary throw in dead on centre wing.
They're much better, Fairpark, when they move it quickly. When they go into the static, it's a bit too easy to clog up, so they need to try and get some more handball receives to run the footy into that dangerous forward line.
Middleton had the front spot, took the footy out of mid-air, taken and dived on there by Bennett, and the umpire will finally blow the whistle. No, he's given a free kick. And yes, incorrect disposal, not getting over. Now we've got 25 as well. I think he was over the mark. There was Bennett and Perry, that being Anthony Perry, going to move into striking range here for East Burwood. Now here comes the kick in towards the forward line. Packer players fly. No one can take it. Bevis Chedji can finally get his hands on it. Cowan dropped the footy. Well roved there by Bevis Chedji, but he was tackled by Neat. The ball on the deck. It finally pops out into the pocket, and it's taken away here by Pearce. He puts it onto the left, and a good kick finds his teammate there in Jack Dunn. And Fairpark move it out of defence. They centre the footy. Temple takes the mark, going back with the flight. He surveys the scene and puts it up towards the forward line. One-on-one contest. Griffiths looks like he'll get to the ball first here for East Burwood. His handball was a poor one, and it's straight back now into Fairpark hands. Shaking the tackle there was Colosimo. The kick in towards the forward line. Away come Fairpark. Racing in towards goal. There's a kick, and it's straight through the middle. And Fairpark have their 8th of the afternoon, and they now lead 8-50. East Burwood 3-4-22. And I believe that was Ronald McKendry's 4th goal of the afternoon.
And
Colosimo McKendry again.
But if you have a look, what happened was McKendry's opponent left him to try and create the contest, and Colosimo, as soon as he saw that he'd left, got it and just got it onto his boot as quick as he could, because he saw the open option there. It was beautiful link-up play.
Well, worrying times really hit now for East Burwood. They're 28 points down. They haven't scored in this second quarter. And Fairpark have kicked the only 2 goals of the quarter so far. So back in the middle, quick kick there by Hurd, boots it forward. Handball shot out this time. Promising build up again into the path there of Dunn. McGowan did well. Got it to Griffiths, then on to Wills. Max Wills' kick is a good one. He finds Anthony Mariani in some space. Good chase though by Tobias. Closed in on him very quickly. Kennedy's kick was ambitious. Bevis Chedji there did well to get hands to it. Umpire says play on. Strong tackle now by Tobias. And it will be ball up. It will be a ball up. So plenty of appeals for free kicks there from Matty Mariani, but he felt he was taken around the neck. The umpire thought differently. McGowan dives over the footy, strongly tackled by Temple, driven into the ground then by Josh Temple, and it'll be another ball up.
They've got better around the contest this quarter, Fairpark, been a lot more solid.
McGowan somehow got his handball out to Perry, onto Wills. Wills does well, doubles back now, drives the kick forward. Middleton the target, couldn't take the mark. Beautifully sharking the pack then, front and centre was Gould, and Ryan Gould did everything right there except the execution of the kick, just off target, and a minus score. East Burwood, their first score of the second quarter on the Eastland scoreboard.
That's the difference between the two sides at the moment. I think they would have kicked that, Fairpark.
So Colosimo now, his kick up towards the half back flank, I should say, here for Fairpark down the far side of the ground. They have the footy now. Onto the right boot it goes up towards centre wing. One-on-one contest. Goff was the target. Rixton may have pushed him out. And no, Rixton was pushed out, and he's going to get the free kick. Plays it on and plays it short now here to Gould. Puts it onto the right. Up towards the half-forward line. Looks like it might beat everyone out of bounds. And Neat was unable to keep it in.
That was a poor kick forward then, under no pressure. They really needed that one to hit the target. Tell you what, I'm impressed with this Colosimo's kicking.
Yeah.
Like he's hitting targets 45 and 50 and they don't look like missing.
One of the players that Sean Stanton was talking about pre-game came across from Wani South last year. Here's Mariani, beaten to the footy there by Bevis Chedji, but it goes out of play. The 21 games on offer across the Eastern Football League this afternoon as you go local for your footy. Of course, the lone game that isn't being played was between Noble Park and Baldwin on the Queen's Birthday weekend. A comprehensive victory there to Baldwin, as this one is locked in the forward line here for East Burwood.
They've got no fluency at the moment, East Burwood, have they? They're not able to get the clearances. They're not able to set up in their forward line easily either. No separation.
There's the tap. Perry doing the roving here for East Burwood, but his handball goes straight into the waiting arms of Colosimo. Takes a bounce or two, might take a third. Here's a kick up towards the attacking 50. Middleton going back with a flight. It pops out now, though, here for Fairpark. Onto the left it goes. It's a mongrel punt. Can McKendry get there before it goes through? And he's just a step or two unable to do it. And that's just a minor score there for Fairpark, but they have all the run of play. 8-3-51 leading East Burwood 3-5-23.
Yeah, Cam Banks it was that time who, his kick just didn't have enough on it to get a goal, but Stafford for East Burwood throws the ball on the boot, bounces it up towards the wing position. Anthony Mariani off and running once more, thumping kick forward, but it didn't do his forwards up ahead any favours, and Mercer was there to take the mark. Swings it up towards Fabrizio. At half-back, the mark taken. So Tyrone Fabrizio weighs up his options. Neat kick to half forward. Dadswell gathers it in. Was really crunched then by Kennedy in the tackle. And the free kick goes to Jason Kennedy for East Burwood. Dishes off the handball to Wills. Wills' very intricate little kick was quite clever. And he found Mariani of the Matthew variety, who hands it back to Wills. High up and under kick by Max Wills, but it's all Fairpark. Again, the delivery into the forward line sorely lacking. McGowan's kick's a good one. He finds O'Brien, off to Perry. Stephen Perry's high up and under left foot kick, and in the end he did pretty well just to score on that occasion. So East Burwood 3-6-24, Fairpark 8-3-51 on the Eastland scoreboard.
He didn't need to rush then, I thought, O'Brien. He needed to just go back and take the shot. There was no need to kick that to handball the football then.
So Pearce brings the footy back in, goes in short, finds Jeffries, gives it right back to Pearce, runs it out of defence, puts it onto the left, and kicks to a almost uncontested Gould there. And he takes the mark under some pretty stiff pressure there from Cam Banks, puts it onto the right, puts it right back in towards the forward line here for East Burwood, but it's not going anywhere. Straight back into the hands. Well smothered though off the boot of Alex Mullix. Diving in there is Jimmy, and it looks like he's given away a free kick. Pearce is going to have the footy. And it's a high tackle according to the umpire. Now the ball is pumped in towards the centre square. Players can't take it cleanly. Temple got a deal there with Griffiths. Popped the handball out, taken here by Perry. Handball out now, finds a teammate here. And taken well there by O'Brien. Shakes a couple of tackles. Sells the dummy. Gives a hand pass out now here to Stafford. And he puts it right back in towards centre half forward now here for East Burwood. Good jukes. And a great mark taken there by Handrick. Puts it onto the left now, looking for a trailer. And that's going to be a Gould. Moves in, puts it onto the right boot. And he's kicked it. That's a contender for goal of the day there to Lockie Gould. His first of the afternoon, and that's the first of the quarter here for East Burwood. 4-6-30. They trail Fairpark 8-3-51. 14 minutes gone on the Eastland scoreboard.
And it makes a difference when you take a big mark up forward, and that was a great option and great running from Gould. Then he did a lot of hard work and good finish as well. So yeah, that'll get them back into it, and they need to back it up with at least another one before half time, and they'll be right back in this game.
Terrific mark by Handrick. That's what we know he does so well. But that kick by him then to Gould. Gould didn't have to break stride at all. It was perfect out in front of him. And as you say, good finish by Lockie Gould as well. That's been the best bit of footy they've played this afternoon so far today, East Burwood. That was really impressive. So back in the middle, Temple now had his handball blocked. Stephen Perry coughed it up and then gave away a free kick for a high tackle. It's going to have to come back. And it'll go to Bennett. So David Bennett, late inclusion into the team for Fairpark, goes back to Pearce. Pearce's kick is a good one, finds Alex Mullix. AJ Mullix, as they call him. Mullix's kick, looking for Goff. Came off hands. The Rams come out of defence. O'Brien, he does like to try and take the tacklers on, gave it to Jemmy. Handball was a little bit indiscriminate, and they've coughed it up here, the Rams. McKendry did well just to get boot to ball. Stafford read the play nicely and takes possession, then charges away. Thumping kick by big Jared Stafford, looking for Galeno, but that's a terrific mark in the one-on-one contest. And Brad Need, he's doing an outstanding job this afternoon on East Burwood's most dangerous forward.
So the kick up towards centre wing now, trickling over the boundary line, just kept onside there by Fairpark. Middleton's got some time and space to work with, gets it by hand out now here to Mulqueen, up now here to Stafford, and he puts it onto the right boot up towards centre wing, taken here by Matt Mariani. And he looks for options to present themselves, decides to go in short, didn't know who that was to. And Jemmy can't take the footy. Keem gets a hand pass out there. Looking for it is McKendry. Gets a quick handball out now here to Bennett. His kick. They're looking for Goff. Up now here to Mulqueen. Loses his footing. Loses the footy in the process as well. Taken away. Good tackle applied. Goff tries to barrel his way through the pack. It's taken over the top. Here comes a hand pass. Intended target there was Banks. It comes out now here onto the boot of Mullix. And he's kicked it to the left of the sports cover goalpost. And that's just going to be the minus score there for Fairpark. East Burwood 4-6-30. They trail Fairpark 8-4-52. We've played 17 and a half.
I think they've lost their shape a little bit at the moment, Fairpark. They've not bringing it into the way they like, and East Burwood are able to get a defender back a little bit easier than what they had previously.
Mulqueen's kick to the wing. Ball loose now. Dunn got hands to it. Jack Dunn got it out to Keem. Over the top was very well played to Dolgeris. thumping kick. Will's back there though, who's done a great job in defence for the Rams. Handball to Matty Gould, just put him under a bit of pressure, and he went to ground at the crucial stage. So free kick goes to Temple for Fairpark. So yeah, he just his knee, almost like his knee gave way on him then, Matty Gould, at the crucial moment, and as a result, Josh Temple was easy to pick him off then and get the free kick. So Temple, for his first of the day, nice looking kick, pretty straight, just didn't quite have the distance, and it was fisted through on the goal line, through for a minor score. 23-point lead to Fairpark, 8-5-53, East Burwood 4-6-30.
Here's the mark taken now by Lockie Gould off the kick out of defence. He turns around, puts it onto the right. Anthony Mariani with some time and space, looking to dish off to a teammate. He does so finally, and that being Kennedy. Has to shake a tackle or two, gets taken to the deck as he gets his kick away, and his kick marked uncontested there by Keem, and he puts it around on the right boots, and Bevis Chedji and Hurd took the mark as either of them could, and his kick out wide now to the far side, and I believe that's Bevis Chedji there on the far, no sorry, excuse me, that's Joseph Rickard. He hits the kick up towards centre wing, taken on the bounce here by Stafford. Handball over the top there. Good handball, but a little too good. It was over the boundary line and boundary throw it.
Young Cam Banks, who's come into the side as a late replacement today in the forward line, he's just got to be a little bit defensive, work a little bit hard defensively. He attacks really well, but he's been caught out a few times. It's his player that's being able to run off the defensive part of the game. So
we're into time on here in this second term. 23-point lead here to Fairpark. Here comes the ball. Bennett ran into his own teammate as the ball spills out towards the centre square. Players piling on. It's taken here finally there by Dunn. His kick up now in towards the goal square. Comes just to the left. And just the minor score there for Fairpark. Didn't see who got that one. I think it was Mercer. And it was just the minor score. 4-6-30, 8-6-54 Fairpark with a 24-point lead.
So Matty Gould to bring the ball back in once more for East Burwood. Goes short then to his brother Lockie. Lockie Gould's kick was a bit too hot then for Kennedy, slipped through his fingers. Goff drives the ball forward, but there's nobody back there for Fairpark, and the mark safely held by Max Wills. So Wills goes short now to Mulqueen, who's had a very good second term. Jacob Mulqueen, not sure, he's not too sure where to go. He kicks to the half-back position, fisted down by Cowan. Kennedy there was well tackled, ball spills clear, and it will be a free kick to go back to Kennedy once more, who's finding heaps of the footy in this second term. Gave it to Anjemi, that's a good kick. Hits Lockie Gould on the chest. Still a bit too far out to score. Gould to the top of the square, and that's a good mark by Middleton. And he wants to play on and then kicks it along the ground. That was good thinking by the big man, and he kicks a much needed goal for East Burwood that brings the margin back to 18 points.
Tell you what, young Lockie Gould has really got into it in the last 10 minutes, and his drive from half-back wing has been excellent. They've really got to make sure they look at him, because he plays on at every cost, and he's used the ball very, very well at the moment.
So 22 minutes played here on the Eastland scoreboard, term number 2. Fairpark 8-6-54, leading East Burwood 5-6-36. Approaching half-time out here at East Burwood Reserve on 1377 SEN Plus, streaming around the globe, EFL.org.au. And Middleton looks like he's gone straight back into the ruck. As the tap comes out, Gould couldn't take it cleanly. That's Lockie Gould. And Jemmy's in there. Temple beats both of them. His handball is picked out of the air there by Gould, and Temple forced to lay the tackle. Colosimo. Hand put onto the boot there by Tobias. It's a high up and under in the McKendry direction. Couldn't take the mark. It's taken there by Fabrizio. Fabrizio comes in from 25 metres and he splits the sticks. And Fairpark have their 9th of the afternoon. And it's 9-6-60, leading 5-6-36 here 23 minutes played on the Eastland scoreboard.
And while he didn't kick the goal, that's McKendry's goal. That was a great bit of play. He took on the two defenders, got in front, great body work, and then there was a great read off the pack to Fabrizio. So that's a very, very quick reply and something that East Burwood didn't want before half-time.
So a 24-point lead back out for Fairpark. 9 goals, 6-60. East Burwood 5 goals, 6-36. As we've gone 23 and a half minutes in the second quarter. As you listen to the game live on 1377 SEN Plus from the East Burwood Reserve. 24-point lead to Fairpark. Top of the table clash in Division 4. So another ball up. Umpire having plenty of words to say. Throws it up now. Middleton with that big leap came over the back of Hurd. Good fist then by Matty Gould. Got it to McGowan. Strong tackle by Mercer on McGowan. And there's another strong tackle, and Bennett there not appreciating the attention he was getting from Gould. Free kick goes to East Burwood, and McGowan goes short to Angemi. Andre Angemi. He just concedes a few metres as he pushes it sideways to Matty Gould. And Matty Gould a spearing low kick there looking for Kennedy. Excuse me, and I reckon Kennedy's the other one, along with Ryan Gould, along with Lockie Gould, Davo, who's really had a big influence in this second quarter in the midfield.
He's worked really hard, hasn't he? Especially at the contest, he's been excellent.
So Middleton on the tap. The ball comes out now here to Mariani. Goes to his brother Anthony. His kick out towards the direction there for Davis. Bumped back the other way. A tackle applied there by Hendrick, but he's shaken off. And the ball goes out over the boundary line. We'll have a boundary throw in. Half forward flank, far side of the ground. East Burwood side of the attacking side of the ground, I should say. As we approach half-time here at East Burwood Reserve. 24 points the margin. Here comes the boundary throw. Give that one there to Hendrick. The ball pops out now here to Lockie Gould. Sells the dummy, puts it onto the right boot, in towards the forward line. Target there was neat, couldn't pick it up. It's taken off the deck now brilliantly though there by Davis. Shakes one, gives it to Gould. His handball over the top. Finds a teammate here in Kennedy. He gets collected as he kicks, and it's gone out on the full, but he's got himself a free kick regardless, so he's going to have take two of that shot on goal.
Yeah, over the shoulder free kick was paid against Zalumis.
Certainly there, and I think, that's the one area that I think that Sean will be a little bit upset about with Fairpark. They've just been clumsy with their tackles and given away far too many ones that they didn't need to give away, such as that one. There was no need to give that free kick away like that, and now it's given them an opportunity to kick this late goal in this quarter.
So Jason Kennedy about 35 metres out, slight angle, puts it onto the right, and he makes no mistakes, gives the signal to the crowd, and he's kicked East Burwood's sixth of the afternoon and his first. East Burwood 6-6-42, trail Fairpark 9-6-60. 26 minutes gone here in the second term on the Eastland scoreboard.
Yeah, they're coach killers, those ones. Really disappointing when you got control of the footy and then you give it up with a very poor tackle. But they're still, 3 goals in front. They've still played some very solid football to half-time.
They have indeed. It is very much a 3-goal game. 9 goals, 6 players, 6 goals, 6 at this stage. 27 minutes gone in the second quarter. Fairpark leading 60 to East Burwood 42. Back in the middle. And Middleton, who's doing a power of work for East Burwood again this afternoon. Casting the role of the rover this time, trying to win the ball on the deck. And it'll be another ball up. Matty Mariani at the bottom of that pack as per normal. Umpire tosses it up. Middleton palmed it down nicely to Kennedy, off to Anthony Mariani, drives it forward, but good mark in defence there taken by Need. Geez, read the ball well in the air today, Brad Need. He got it to Cowan, onto Tobias. Ethan Tobias, steering kick, looking for Keem. Just slipped through his fingers that time. Wills does really well again. I've liked his game in defence for East Burwood. Matty Gould, that's a good pass. He finds Kennedy in space. Kennedy just keeps running and finding the footy in this second term, and he kicks it to Lewis Neate, who takes the mark just in time before the siren sounded. And Lewis Neate, who's had a very quiet first half, I think it's fair to say, has the chance to kick a goal after the halftime siren.
And again, that was set up from Kennedy. Just had way too much space there. But I have liked the half-back line of East Burwood. They have run it out well, and they've certainly locked it down a lot better than they did earlier.
And he kicked 7 goals a couple of weeks ago, Lewis Neate. This for his first of the day. And it's not going to quite make the distance. In fact, it's been given a behind, so minus score there, rush through for 1 behind, which sees East Burwood finish on 6-7-43. Fairpark 9 goals, 660 on the Eastland scoreboard. So at halftime, it is a 17-point lead to Fairpark. Ronnie McKendry has kicked 4 goals today. James Goff has 3, while for East Burwood, they are all single goal kickers to this stage.
So that'll do it for the first half of play out here at East Burwood Reserve here on 1377 SEN+. We'll be back with a halftime intermission report in just a few moments.
Breakfast with Gary and Tim. Weekdays from...
And you're clear.
In the world, the 20 Cup is here, and you'll hear every ball live on SEN. Don't miss a moment of the action with every game live on 1377 SEN+, as well as a designated channel on the SEN app. Plus, every Australian game live on 1116 SEN. He's caught it seconds left. Simmons Homes, building quality, affordable homes since 1949. SEN is your home for the 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup.
The 2019 Toyota AFL season is past halfway, so don't miss your exclusive Round 13 AFL record, featuring teams, stats and facts in your expanded matchday section. In this week's record, Andrew Sleverson takes an in-depth look at the quarter-by-quarter figures of all 18 clubs, who's slow out of the blocks and who's finishing like a steam train. And exclusive each week, how your team rates according to the stats. Don't forget to grab your AFL record this weekend, still just $5. Thanks to Karcher, the official 2019 partner of the AFL.
Okay, Clint's ready to go.
Family Peace Foundation.
So, a busy out of...
I've been practicing for months and was so excited. Mum missed it though, because she was looking at something on her phone.
Yeah. 2:45. So yeah, just come straight in. He said, "How long will it be?" I said, 3.5. Okay, he said, "All right then." So he's a busy man. Oh, look, I can imagine in a newsroom he'd be, off his feet. So
19.
He'll be fine.
Out on clearances and can't lay a tackle. What was the seniors coach going to do? Jono surprised himself and everyone else. The spray he gave the boys at halftime worked. Well, he did finish it by saying he'd shout them a post-game feed and frothies at Eastland if they won. For all of life and footy's little moments, there's Eastland, proud sponsors of the EFL. Eastland, live real.
Hello, I'm Peter Hitchener. 9 News invites you to join our team nightly at 6 for Melbourne's #1 news. Tony Jones with the latest sport, including the footy, plus Lavinia Nixon's weather forecast. 9 News, proud supporter of the Eastern Football League.
At Melbourne Airport, you can get 1 hour terminal parking for just $12. It makes it easy to greet your loved ones when they come home, or give them a proper send-off. You can also park for up to 3 hours for just $24 and 1 day for $51. That's cheaper than a taxi to and from the city. For warmer welcomes, proper goodbyes and everything in between, Melbourne Airport Parking is here to get you there. Visit melbourneairport.com.au.
Impress clients, friends and colleagues with a premium experience at the MCG. Whether it's your own private suite or a table in a premium space, enjoy award-winning catering and premium beverages at Melbourne's biggest sporting events. mcg.org.au/premium.
You know, I couldn't do my job without my robot.
Thank you for saying that.
Because from the stumps to the roof, Robot's got it.
Robots got it.
The toughest materials at the lowest prices.
Robots got it.
Okay, coming up to 45.
Robot's got everything you could ever need.
You know what? For a robot, you're a good bloke. Head to Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dromana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. Call 1300-GO-ROBOT or order at robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
From where you are to the game. From the game back to where you were. Get there with Scooty. Melbourne's first motor scooter rideshare service is here. More nimble, more affordable. Scooty is the new, safe, greener, easier way to
15.
Next time you're out and about, jump on the back of a Scooty. Download the Scooty app and book a ride.
Waitley, Monday from 9 on SEN.
Here we go, putting your marks back on.
Your footy.
Go.
And welcome back to EFL Game Day here on 1377 SEN Plus and simulcast on Radio Eastern 98.1. We're going to break down the first half of action between Fairpark and East Burwood. But before we do that, let's cross to Clint Stanaway in the 9 newsroom. Clint.
There's a lot happening in the news at 6, and a lot of it has to do with footy, I might say. A trespasser left thousands of fans last night stranded on train platforms trying to get home, forcing the shutdown of services between Flinders Street and Southern Cross Station. That all followed that match at Marvel Stadium last night. Speaking of which, Hawks captain Benny Stratton, he's come under a bit of fire today for repeatedly pinching Essendon's Orazio Fantasia in last night's loss to the Bombers. We'll have all the reaction from that game later in the news at 6. Plus, a 28-year-old Bendigo man has been charged with a raft of offences linked to hacking police phone systems after joint raids at 3 properties. We'll have that story, plus a day in sport, the latest from the Cricket World Cup coming up tonight at 6.
Thanks, Clint. Clint Stanaway in the 9 newsroom there. And out here at East Burwood Reserve, it is Fairpark at halftime, 9-6-60, leading East Burwood 6-7-43. But before we go any further, let's go to Dan Sensick in the EFL Score Centre. Dan.
Yeah, thanks very much, Steve. It's all happening out here, of course. Almost a full card of games across the Eastern Football League, but probably none so bigger in Premier Division than this one today. Blackburn taking on Rowville. It's Blackburn 4-3-27 at halftime, trailing Rowville 5-6-36. Big event happening out there today, of course, with the Socket to MND round. The boys will be going in the freezing cold water about now, I reckon. So, so brace yourself for that one. But out at Doncaster, it's Doncaster leading Norwood by 7 points. Doncaster 30 plays Norwood 23 at halftime. Moving on to Division 1 action, East Ringwood 4-7-31, Murrelbach 4-3-27. Close one out there, and Murrelbach seemingly continuing this mid-year charge that they're on at the moment. And Davis Harrigan is out at the Lilydale versus Croydon match. A cracker unfolding out there. Croydon 6-7-43, leading Lilydale 5-3-33. Bayswater 3-7-25, trails Park Orchard 6-5-41. As we move on to Division 2 action, Heathmont 4-9-33, Mulgrave 1-3-9. So a handy buffer at halftime there for the Jets. And Baronia, I know you guys spoke about this on pre-game of they're coming up against the Basin today, so good local rivalry, but Baronia 6-5-41 lead the Basin slenderly at half-time, 5-6-36, so 5 points the margin out there. Moving on to Division 3 action, Ferntree Gully 3-1-19 trails Whitehall's Pioneers 3-5-23. That's at half-time. And of course, Division 4 action unfolding, Sylvan 109 leading Croydon North M-Lock 18. So a huge lead there at half-time for the Cats. And Coldstream taking on Kilsyth. It's Coldstream 10-8-68 leading Kilsyth 1-6-12. So huge result out there, and I've just received a result through for the score at half-time from Wanturna South, and it is, of course, Wanturna South 5-3-33, Doncaster East 4-2-26.
Thanks, Dan. Plenty of scores, interesting scores coming in across the Eastern Football League. And don't forget, from 5 o'clock this afternoon, join myself and Dan Sensick for the EFL post-game show. We'll bring you all the results and scores from across the Eastern Football League as you drive home from the various grounds. And 21 games on offer this afternoon as you go local for your footy here at the Eastern Footy League. Right now, though, here at East Burwood Reserve between Fairpark and East Burwood, it's Fairpark 9-6-60, East Burwood 6-7-43. The Lions leading by 17 points over the Rams. Goal kickers for Fairpark. James Goff has 3. Ronald McKendry leads all players with 4. Fabrizio and Colosimo round out the goal kickers there for Fairpark. And for East Burwood, all single goal kickers. Galino with 1, Kennedy with 1, Davis with 1, Jai Middleton with 1, and Lockie Gould and Troy McGowan with 1 apiece. So interesting game, top of the table clash. Dan, your thoughts on the game so far?
Yeah, it just seems that Fairpark have the answers time and again, don't they? That lead they built early on in the opening term, East Burwood can't seem to arrest that. Every time East Burwood seem to get on a run, Fairpark reply instantly. And the big man up forward for Fairpark, James Goff, 3 goals in the first term, had a quiet second term by his standards, but what he's done off the ball has been fantastic as well. Split the packs, he's palmed down balls time and again to our teammates running past in a better position and created goals. But Ronald McKendry, what a game he's having. What a blistering start to a game. And, he's hard to catch when he's on the run, isn't he?
Yep.
His opponents are absolutely sucking in the breaths trying to catch him. But they've just got so many options down there, Fairpark. And I saw them against Surrey Park in the night game earlier this year, and they were the same. They were neck and neck with Surrey Park up to half time, and then after that they just they ran all over the top of them. But for East Burwood, I mean, to get back into this one, they just need more options up forward as well, and they need to be better defensively. But I suppose it tells the story of the game, doesn't it, Steve, that East Burwood have had that many individual goal kickers. They just need someone to be able to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Will it be an Adrian Galino? Will it be a Jai Middleton? We've seen Jai Middleton dominate a game earlier this year. He took a great clunking mark up forward just a few moments ago and kicked truly, but they need someone who can stand up and really take this game by the scruff of the neck.
Well, we talked before with Stuart Wine in the pre-game about the smalls of East Burwood. For me, they've been held pretty well. It's the talls that are doing the job. You know, Stafford, Handrick, and Middleton who are delivering, I think, for East Burwood. That's where I think the key to the game lies. I think like Anthony Mariani's played pretty well. I also think that Steve Perry's had a good one. Galino's been pretty well blanketed. Brad Need's doing a pretty good job back there on him, and Jesse Pearce has been very good in defence.
Yeah, the captain. You mentioned that defensive unit for the Lions, Jesse Pearce and Brad Need. Great. They're so cool and calm under pressure, aren't they? So many times during the first half we've seen the Fairpark defence under pressure, but they've worked it out. Instead of blazing away, they've been able to find options and players in a better position up the ground and work the game from there. But it's great seeing this Fairpark side function so well, because for so many years they were mid-table and it would be a rinse and repeat year after year. But it's a great thing, and I'll tell you what, it's only 17 points the margin at half time, so it's going to be really interesting to see how the Rams come out, because Fairpark have got them on the ropes at the moment.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Particularly that last 15 minutes, all Fairpark. But we'll see what Stuart Wine has said to his players in the half-time break, and we'll see if they can fire them up for the third term. Don't forget also, as we talked about before, 5 o'clock, the post-game show will bring you all the scores and results from the Eastern Football League, 21 games across the Eastern Footy League this afternoon. And tomorrow, EFL Sunday on SEN 1377, hosted by Brad Henderson, will bring you all the results and interviews with the winning coaches 10 till 12 here on 1377 SEN+. All right, we're going to take a short break and we'll be back with more action out here from East Burwood Reserve on EFL Game Day.
The award-winning Crunch Time.
You're clear 4 minutes.
Cool, thanks.
Driving you home, it's KB in the dock.
I'm going to call it out when they start writing stories about Tim Kelly for no particular reason.
Is there another
on the
story
radio.
today?
Yes, listen to this. Okay. There you go.
It's got a censor to Tim Kelly.
It picks up a Tim Kelly story that tells us nothing. It's not me. It's just automatic, Kevin.
For Ace Gutters, Australian-made, built to last. And On Deck, small business loans approved in hours. Apply now, ondeck.com.au.
KB in the dock, back Monday from 3.
Just what's on in Melbourne. Everything when you visit South Bank by the iconic Yarra River.
If you want to create that really unique dining experience for family, friends or work colleagues, the Breslin is just the place, especially when you book the whole animal feast. If it's the freshest oysters, shellfish and fish you're after, the Waterfront Seafood Bar Grill will not disappoint. And to send your taste buds on a trip to Barcelona, you should try Teatro Pizzeria Bar Tapas at least once in your lifetime.
For more of what's on in Melbourne, go to teatro.com.au.
The senior coach has taken the team to Eastland for a post-game feed. If only they had this kind of teamwork on the field. They've just ordered starters to share, plus frothies for the whole table. And now Steve-O's chucked a prawn to Macca. He circled back. Yes! Straight into his pie hole. Yo, beauty! Good form, boys. For all of life and footy's little moments, there's Eastland, proud sponsors of the EFL. Eastland, live real. This season may be over, but the NBA action never stops. The stage is set on June 21 for the NBA draft. Watch and see which teams draft the next generation of stars in the eye-popping fashion choices of this year's draft class. Then, catch the NBA awards on June 25 to see who will take out this season's highest honours, the MVP, Rookie of the Year and more. Don't forget, with NBA League Pass, you can watch the NBA draft, NBA awards and Summer League live.
Download the NBA app or visit nba.com for details.
Hello, I'm Rosie for the Family Peace Foundation. Last week, I did my first full handstand in the park. I've been practicing for months and was so excited. Mum missed it though, because she was looking at something on her phone. My dog Digger saw it, and he came running, wagging his tail, and we celebrated together. I wish Mum could have seen it, but like always, she was on her phone. Family Peace. Do it for your kids.
Mate, you finally going to build that man cave out the back?
Yeah, sure am. Just on the Robot Building Supplies website now.
What do they sell?
Everything I need to build the best man cave a bloke ever hid from his family in. Steel wall sheeting, corrie sheeting, purlins, steel, insulation, Rio mesh, bolts and screws. I can order it on the website and get it all delivered.
Save time and money with Robot. Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. Call 1300-GO-ROBOT or order at robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
ROBOT Robot Building Supplies.
At Melbourne Airport, you can get 1 hour terminal parking for just $12. It makes it easy to greet your loved ones when they come home or give them a proper send-off. You can also park for up to 3 hours for just $24 and 1 day for $51. That's cheaper than a taxi to and from the city. For warmer welcomes, proper goodbyes and everything in between, Melbourne Airport parking is here to get you there. Visit Melbourne.
Up to 30 seconds.
Tyre Power is Australia's biggest independent tyre retailer, and right now they're having Australia's biggest independent stocktake sale, which means you have the power to save on Falcon tyres. Buy 3 and get 1 free on a huge range of Falcon passenger car tyres. That's buy 3 and get 1 free on selected Falcon tyres, but only at Tyre Power. See website for details. Tyre Power's biggest ever stocktake sale is now on. Visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 for your local owner operator.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusively on the all-new SEN.
Okay, here we go. Putting Mike's back
and go local for your...
Well, welcome back to the East Burwood Reserve, where the Fairpark team lead 9 goals 660 to East Burwood 6-7-43. A 17-point lead to Fairpark going into the second half. And the Fairpark team have been out there for quite some time, Davo. East Burwood have only just come out onto the field now. I reckon Fairpark would be out there maybe 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, and the umpires have been out for 4 or 5 minutes. Like East Burwood have come out really late. Like we're like the Fairpark players have all been in position for a number of minutes. So. Someone needs to open up the checkbook for the AFL, because I'm sure there'll be a fine or 2 involved there. But that's quite unusual to come out that late.
You can make it out to B. Davidson at EFL.
Yes.
So we're almost ready to go, and Kyle Hurd will go against Jai Middleton for the first ruck contest of the second half.
Galeno up higher now, and Neat has gone down into the full forward position. So a slight change up there with Handrick playing as 25 out. So they've changed up 2 bigs down forward, and all their smalls have gone up onto the half forward line for East Burwood.
And as you'd expect, Brad Need's still with the job on Galeno. I thought he was outstanding in that first half.
Done a fantastic job. Won his own ball, which has been good too.
So the second half gets underway here at East Burwood Reserve. Middleton got it down to Davis. Lepore, the ball slipped through his hands. Loose ball on the deck. That's O'Brien, who's strongly tackled by Cowan
He was going nowhere, and the umpire will ball it up. So, inside the forward 50 here for East Burwood. Hurd wins the tap, went with the double fister that time. Dalgeris bounces the kick forward. Kennedy got it out to Lepore, onto Griffiths, who seemed to throw it out, or certainly dropped it in the tackle red-handed. Wasn't paid holding the ball when it probably should have been. Lepore shot out the handball to Anthony Perry, and the kick landed in the hands of Anthony Mariani, who shares it with his brother now. High kick to Gould, and Lockie Gould has stood under the kick for quite a while, but he didn't panic. He took the mark and will go back and line up for his second goal of the day.
Quite fortuitous that the guy who had the football was knocked off his kick, and instead of the ball travelling towards goal, it travelled straight across the ground, and Gould was in the good position to be able to take what looks like a fairly simple directly in front of goal shot.
Well, we know he's a good kicker of the footy. He's used the ball really well today. That looks good as well, and East Burwood get off to the best possible start to the third quarter. Lockie Gould has his second goal, and the margin now is back to just 11 points.
Yeah, he has been impressive the latter part of, or probably from the 10-minute mark of the second quarter. He started to take control of his wing, used the ball well, ran really well. It's an interesting setup now with East Burwood going with the small forwards up high. Something a little bit different, trying to offset Fairpark, but the key for me is something has to be done about Kennedy in the middle. He's just winning far too much of his own ball at the moment.
So Hurd wins the tap out of centre. Temple burst through a couple of players, got pretty well tackled, and he threw it, said the umpire, and the free kick's going to come back, and it's going to be given to Kennedy. He's got one already this afternoon, and he's going to take the kick in, almost dead in the centre of the ground out here at East Burwood Reserve as the sun disappears behind the ground, behind the clouds. It's a little dark out here. Here's a high floating kick. Mariani, good jukes, took the mark, dead in front. He's about 50 from home.
That was a very good mark, because that ball was the old rugby league floater that was hard to take, and he body position, protected the ball drop. Very, very nice mark, that one.
Looks like Mariani's going to have a crack. Dead in front, he puts this onto the right. It's not going to carry the distance, and good mark taken in at the last line of defence there by Keem. He puts it onto the right boot. Temple takes an uncontested mark, turns around and puts it onto the right. 3v1 there in favour of Fairpark as the ball trickles out, though. Here is maybe a high tackle, yes, and looks like it was Bennett there on the receiving end of some Anthony Mariani treatment. He's a bit slow to get up too. And, well, looks like he's going to tag himself straight out over the boundary line, and it's going to be Jack Dunn to take the free kick now here for Fairpark. True centre wing position here, near side of the ground out here at East Burwood Reserve. Dunn now. His kick in towards the forward 50. At the front spot there did Hurd, but taken there by Dadswell. He puts it onto the right, going back with the flight of the footy. There for Fairpark was Mullocks. He turns around, looks it into the Goff direction. Great job there by Eddie Rixton. Puts the fist on the ball and puts it out of play.
And the difference there is that Goff is trying to take chest marks, and all he needs to do is extend his arms out, and he takes a mark there, because Rixton's not going to be able to get around. But when he's trying to take chest marks, Rixton's been able to punch the ball away. So deficiency in his technique there that he needs to improve, Goff.
So Goff does the rucking on this occasion, lays the tackle there on Davis. We're going to have a ball up in the forward pocket here for Fairpark.
Because that ball that he did get to him was absolutely beautifully delivered.
Yeah. 11 points the margin here, 4.5 played. Plucked out of the air there by Kennedy. He may have got one up high. He kicks this one out, and running the footy out of play there was Jack Dunn. Will have a boundary throw in.
So that's 3 clearances to Kennedy already this quarter. They have got to stop him. He is just far too influential on the ball at the moment.
So boundary throw in. Looks like it's going to be Stafford to do the rucking here against Hurd. In it comes. Hurd gets the mitt on it. Kennedy again with a touch. Gets a handball out. Dragged to the ground though, and we'll have a ball up.
Yep. 5 minutes gone in the third quarter. 11-point lead to Fairpark on the Eastland scoreboard. Strong tackle then was applied. Mullix takes possession. And I think it might be a free kick going behind. Yeah, behind the play. It was sort of an aggressive tackle then by Davis. And resulting free kick for Fairpark. Ball driven forward. Close to the boundary line now. Strong tackle applied once more. Will shot out a handball to Davis, to Kennedy. Chain of handballs finishes up with Mariani of the Matthew variety, who found his brother in space on the wing. Anthony Mariani drives it forward and then gives a gobful to his opponent, who dumped him after the kick. Kick by Gould is a good one, and he hits neat on the chest. And that was good footy from East Burwood. Gee, they looked really sharp that time as they brought the ball from end to end.
And you can see already they're getting it and they're going to run. They're going to try and run Fairpark off their feet at the moment, and especially with some of the bigger bodies in the midfield, this is a danger for Fairpark if they can keep hitting the scoreboard in this way.
So Lewis Neat hasn't kicked a goal today. Had a chance on the halftime siren for his first, which fell short. Distance shouldn't be a problem this time, but he hasn't got the required accuracy, and a minor score then sees East Burwood move on to 7-8-50. Fairpark 9 goals, 6-60. 10-point lead to the Lions on the Eastland scoreboard.
So it's going to be Pearce to bring the ball back in now here for Fairpark. Just runs out and puts a deep kick out now here towards the half-forward flank. Had the front spot, did Handrick. Great mark. Under pressure there from Cowan. He goes by hand now here to Lockie. Gould sells the dummy, puts it onto the right boot in towards the forward pocket. Needs the target again. Great mark. Going back with the flight. Pressure there from Pearce and Need, and Neat's going to get his second shot in about 15 seconds here. This time, tightest of angles, about 25 out.
Been a very good move from Stu Wine, gone with him deep forward, putting the pressure on Jeffries, who's not been able to stop Neat taking these marks at this stage.
So plays on, goes around the body. He's just snuck it through. Great kick there. No, he's hit the post, according to the umpire. Must have just grazed the paint off it because it looked like it just snuck in. Okay, well, that's just the minor score there for East Burwood. 7-9-51. Fairpark 9-6-60.
So Jesse Pearce to bring the ball back in for Fairpark. Driving kick straight down the middle. That was a ripper. Got it to Keane. On to Dadswell. Now it's with Temple. Temple's left foot kick, looking for his teammate in Mercer, who holds the mark. Shane Mercer wants to quickly move it on. Too far out to score, so he drives it right to the goal line, and it's not a good kick though. Mark safely taken it back there by Matty Gould, I think that is, for East Burwood on the last line of defence.
That was a really poor kick. He didn't have any, there was no one down there at any stage.
Yeah, I don't know why he was in such a hurry to get it forward. He was never going to make the distance, and he just seemed to want to quickly move it on. But as you say, nobody there to kick to from his team. So, yep, it's boundary throw in. 9-point lead to Fairpark. It's Stafford against Goff this time. Mariani shoots out a handball. Gets it to Griffiths. Driving kick along the boundary. Cowan did well against Handrick. Cowan's handball to Keem. Good pressure then by East Burwood. Forced the error. Quick kick forward. Middleton did well and takes the mark. Made to earn it then by Hurd. Jai Middleton will go back. He's within kicking distance. Scoring distance.
Unfortunately, what's happening at the moment is the bigs of Fairpark have not got the influence that they had earlier on, and the smalls and more mobile players of East Burwood, they're running a lot harder and using their bodies much better than what Fairpark are using this quarter.
Well, Jai Middleton, he's certainly taking his time. Knows how important this kick is. Can bring the margin back to 3 points if he nails it. Hangs it out to the left, and he never looked happy with that kick once it left the boot. So minor score for East Burwood. 7-10-52. Still trailing Fairpark 9-6-60.
10 minutes played here in this third term on the Eastland scoreboard. Pearce to bring the footy back in again here for Fairpark, as he has done so most of this afternoon. His kick up towards the half-forward flank. Mariani took it off the pack. His handball now goes to Anjemi. He swings around, puts it onto the right, and it's picked off there, though, by Colosimo, who's had a great game himself. And he takes the mark inside his own defensive 50. Just a short stabbing pass in towards the centre of the ground. Bit of indecision as to who was going to get that. It's finally taken by Tobias. He gets a hand pass out over the top now. Onto the run here of Fabrizio, who's run down in unison. But the free kick is going towards Fairpark. Fabrizio must have been a push. It's the only thing I could think of there. And Fabrizio's won the free kick, edge of the centre square. His kick in towards the Goff direction. It's punched away from him and might trickle over the boundary line before Rixton can get it. No, Rixton takes it inside. Handball off now here to Stafford. And a back now here to Mulqueen. Got to deal with McKendry. Puts a short stabbing pass. That was good. And Middleton took a great mark under pressure inside his own defensive 50. Now he swings around, puts it onto the right boot. Contested footy as Matty Gould couldn't take it cleanly, and well, a bit of a comedy of errors there, and it goes out of bounds.
That was a great effort there from Goff. He made He made 3 efforts as he walked across, right across the ground there to keep that ball in that forward 50 for them.
So in comes the boundary throw. Goff v Stafford. Stafford wins the tap, but the footy stays just on side of the boundary line, but it's gone over now, and we'll have another boundary throw.
At the moment, the problem is that with Goff, he's not getting any separation, so he can't use his body. They're kicking to big packs on him. He's never going to take the big pack marks.
So boundary throw in. Goff there in the box seat. Big fist out of the air. Got it to Fabrizio. Handball by Perry. Nice mark taken by Fabrizio. No, this time it's Colosimo, I should say. So we've liked his game today. He has kicked 1 goal back in the first quarter.
He could kick this.
He's a long way out, but he is a thumping kick, and gee, didn't he make good connection on that one? That is an outstanding kick for goal. You called it, Davo. You were spot on. And Stephen Colosimo has booted his second, and you have to say he made that look incredibly easy for such a long kick.
He just waltzed in, didn't he? But he's shown already that his transition kicking, he gets that 45 to 50 each time, and then I just thought, well, look at the way he's been kicking, and he's their danger. So there's a number of players out there that just have to be locked down on either side. You cannot allow Kennedy to continue to get his hands on the footy, or Colosimo.
So the tap comes down. Hurd wins it out of the centre. Middleton runs onto it, though. Has to shake a couple of tackles, and Jemmy now gets the handball out, finds Griffiths. Got a couple of players on his hammer, and the footy now comes out here to Perry. He puts a chip kick pass out now here to Lepore. His kick goes over the top now here to Anjemi. He puts it onto the right, in towards the direction there. Galeno couldn't take the mark. It trickles over past him and probably over the boundary line. Finally, it evades Dunn, and Mariani will get a boundary throw. So 14 points the margin out here at East Burwood Reserve on SEN 1377 and streaming live across the globe, bfl.org.au. As the ball comes back in, and that was too short. The umpire's going to take that one again. And don't forget, join us at 5 o'clock for the post-game show. We'll bring you all the results from across the Eastern Footy League, all 21 games being played today. We'll have a couple of around-the-ground reports from the games that matter. Well, they all matter, but the ones that have specific interest towards the finals. And here's Mariani. He takes a pretty easy mark there, uncontested, 45 out, tight angle.
And again, that was Kennedy. Won the contest, too much room, turn around, hit the target. So there has to be a decision made, because you cannot allow him to get his hands on the football the amount of times that he is. So maybe Temple has to go on to him.
So Anthony Mariani hasn't kicked one this afternoon, looking for his first. The kick comes in, it's across the face, and it's just through for the minor score there for the Rams. 7-11-53 they move to 10-6-66. They trail Fairpark. 14 minutes gone here on the Eastland scoreboard.
They've missed a lot of gettable goals in the last today, full stop. So hope that they don't rue them.
So Jesse Pearce runs away for Fairpark. Driving kick, that was a good one. He finds Keem, who takes the mark in those big dukes. Michael Keem's kick, looking for Mullix, and he takes the mark. AJ Mullix wants to play on quickly. under a bit of pressure as he kicked the ball. Good work then by O'Brien. Went back with the handball to McGowan. Good composure shown that time by East Burwood. Now Handrick, nice kick for Galeno. Just had a little bit higher than he would have liked, and that gave Brad Need the chance to chop it off. And he's having a difficult day, Adrian Galeno. He kicked one early, but since then Brad Need has well and truly taken the honours in that battle. So boundary throw in broadcast side, right in front of our elevated position here in the East Burwood Social Club. Lockie Gould spears the kick in, but again, Need reads it beautifully and takes another mark defensively for Fairpark. Not his best kick though. It's been intercepted. Griffiths wheels around, nice kick to McGowan in space, and Troy McGowan will go back and line up for his second goal of the day.
You cannot afford to take a one-step kick and put it anywhere near the inside part of the ground from defence. So that was a really poor kick and easily defended by East Burwood. Nice kick forward.
A rare error today from Brad Need, that is for sure. So Troy McGowan here for his second. And he's started it right. It hasn't quite come back. It's just offline there, and a minor score for East Burwood, 7-12-54. Fairpark 10-6-66 on the Eastland scoreboard. Coming up to 17 minutes gone in the third quarter.
So will inaccurate kicking cost East Burwood? Still plenty of footy left. 19 scoring shots they've had to 16 of Fairpark. Moving the ball quickly out of defence now. There was Marlix. His kick up towards centre wing. Middleton had the front spot but couldn't take the mark. Dunn burst through a couple of players, burst through a couple more. He gets run down in a brilliant tackle there by Matt Mariani. And the free kick played in as is the advantage. Here's McGowan. He spears a short one in the Galeno direction and he takes it straight in front, about 45 out, and he's going to go back and have a pop for his second of the afternoon potentially.
Well, that's what coaches love to see, those run-down tackles. That was a very good mark from Galeno because that ball was travelling, and Need was hot on his hammer. Very nice mark.
So Galeno kicked one this afternoon. Here's the kick off the left. Has it got the journey? It does indeed. And Adrian Galeno's kicked his second of the afternoon. And that brings up the half century on the season there for Adrian Galeno. 50 goals on the year. East Burwood 8-12-60 trail Fairpark by 1 goal, 10-6-66. 18 minutes gone as we approach time on the Eastland scoreboard.
That's funny how the game changes. Who was it? It was Jack Dunn, had the ball, was clear, looked like they were streaming into their forward half. Great tackle, turnover, suddenly the opposition's kicked the goal and it's back to a goal within it. So it's been a great quarter from East Burwood this quarter.
6-point lead to Fairpark, 10-6-66 to East Burwood, 8-12-60. Adrian Galeno raising the bat for his 50th goal of the season. Handball shot out to, or chain of handballs now, finishes up with Matty Mariani. Bounces the kick forward into open space. Galeno all of a sudden looks dangerous again. He's kicked to the top of the square. Hendrick back there tried to reel in the mark. Couldn't quite do so against Mercer. And a minor score. 5 points of margin. They're within a goal now, East Burwood.
It's the midfield dominance of East Burwood. They've really got on top in the midfield.
So Pearce brought the footy back in. Short stabbing pass there to Need. He puts it on and out to centre wing. Great mark going back with a flight there is Keem. And he surveys the scene up front. Going to go to Temple, who was unaware initially of the kick, but saw it, had the sun in his eyes as well. And he'll take the kick now in towards the pocket. Going back with the flight and almost taking a fantastic mark there was Bennett. But the ball goes out of play and we'll have a boundary throw in.
Yeah, perfect ball. It just got over his head for him to take that mark.
Oh, would have been a Jeff Lawson style catch of the round.
Dave, the way Keem looks and the way he moves and the way he plays, he reminds me, I don't know if you remember a guy, Ray Sibley, who played for the Glen Waverley Hawks. We used to call him the utility. He reminds me a lot of him. As
Goff took that one off the ruck and had a shot at goal, but it went well to the left, and just the minor score there for Fairpark. They moved to 10-7-67. East Burwood 8-13-61. 6 points the margin as we are into time on in the third quarter.
Yes, Goff needs to get a little bit more involved, and here comes Kennedy back on ball.
Wills brings the ball in for East Burwood. Mark held there by Mulqueen. Jacob Mulqueen's kick to O'Brien. This looks promising. Griffiths handball to Davis, back to Griffiths. Good run and carry provided by Yanni Griffiths. Gets it forward now. The kick looking for Handrick. Again, he's had to go wide for his to find the footy today. That time it was knocked away from him and over the boundary line.
So again, their run and carry has really been good this quarter. Handball's been much better, and again they've been able to win the contest, which has been the crucial thing for East Burwood.
Pretty shallow boundary throw in that time. Strong tackle on Pearce. East Burwood want holding the ball paid. The umpire lets them play for a long time, but says he'll ball it up. No prior opportunity that time. So 6 points to the lead. They've been wasteful at times, East Burwood. 8 goals, 13 they've kicked. Fairpark, 10 goals, 7. And another strong tackle by Pearce. So it's just stuck in that forward pocket at the moment for East Burwood. All their forwards at the moment are looming really large. Galeno, Handrick, Lewis Neat, they all have looked dangerous in this third quarter. Ball spilled out to Anthony Mariani, bounces it, and what's he done? He's just, I think he's just off target, so minus score then. 2 behinds today for Anthony Mariani, otherwise he hasn't hit the scoreboard, and they're back to within 5 points, the margin.
So 22 minutes gone here at East Burwood Reserve in the third term. The kick out there from Pearce finds Need, and he goes straight back to Pearce by way of hand. Pearce now puts it onto the left boot, out towards centre wing, and taking an uncontested mark a long way up the ground as versus normal there is Goff. He turns around and puts a long probing kick in towards the forward line, and taking a mark at the back there was Bennett. Great mark from him and a great kick there from Goff. And that travelled at least 50 metres. And well, Bennett looks like he's going to go back and have a shank.
Well, I hope it's not a shake.
I hope it's not a shake. We're going to have a shake, I should say. You get my syllables right. As the kick goes in towards the top of the goal square. Big fist over the top there from Middleton. As the ball bounces out now here to Wills. And he just chips this one over the top. Finds a teammate here in Yanni Griffiths. He thought about the handball, finally went to it. It was a long looping handball and almost put Davis under pressure. He finally gets a kick away up towards the half-forward line. Galeno can't take the mark. It bounces through the legs there of Need as Clasher heads there with Pearce, and he's still down on the ground. Here's the kick in towards the forward line. It's taken here by Beavis Chedji, and I hope Jesse Pearce is okay. He's rather ginger to get up. Here comes the kick now in towards the edge of the centre square. Keem has the footy now, switches the play now across to Colosimo, went over his head. Lockie Gould going to be first to it now here for East Burwood, but he's run down there by Colosimo.
Well done.
And he's won himself the free kick. Has Colosimo, and he's going to take this one true centre wing position, and he puts this one onto the right boot in towards the forward line. Plenty of players there. Goff was there sitting at the front. He just taps this one intelligently off to Fabrizio, puts this goalward. Has it got the carry? Oh, it might have been touched there by Stafford, and he just races it over the line for the minor score. That almost trickled through, and just one behind there to... So 10-7-67, Fairpark lead East Burwood, 8-14-62, 24 minutes gone.
They're just going to try and run them now. You can see this East Burwood are just trying to run all over the ground, spread them, use the whole width of the ground, and run Fairpark.
Gould's kick then to Mariani. Took too long. No awareness then from Matty Mariani. No peripheral vision. He didn't see McKendry hunting him down. Good tackle then by Ronnie McKendry. Hands it off to Pearce. Pearce's kick was a good one as well. The ball's come out of the pack now. Will that be paid advantage? The umpire says all clear, and so the goal has gone down to Fairpark, and the advantage was paid that time. Quick kick came away. I think it might have been from Bennett for Fairpark, and they lead now by 12 points. 11 goals, 8-74 to East Burwood, 8-14-62.
Well, there's been 2 crucial rundowns today, and both of them have resulted in goals for the team that's made the tackle. So that was again an excellent rundown, and a good bit of work from Goff up front, put his body on the line, won the free kick, and then Bennett scored the goal.
And both of those rundowns involved Matthew Mariani on the receiving end this time.
Yep.
So 25 minutes played here in quarter number 3. Fairpark 74, leading East Burwood 62. There's the tap out to 7. Cowan won that one. Good tackle there by Anjemi, and it's going to be another ball up. So as we approach the 26-minute mark, Cowan over the top, wins that out. Mariani did well to get a foot to the ball. It bounces out now here to the flank. Need took his man out. It bounces there for Galino, but he couldn't get it. Need does get it in 10, and it comes straight down the throat there of Mariani. Plays on quickly, switches the play, looking there. Intended target was Gould. It was chopped off. Sorry, that was O'Brien. Well done there by Need to spin out of danger and put a kick now in towards the centre square. Takes an awkward bounce. Fabrizio's there for Fairpark, but he's gift wrapped, and that will be a ball up.
He did that well, actually. He's 1 on 4. He's managed to hold the ball in and stop what could have been a turnover ball for East Burwood to get it down.
So into the ruck now. Goff wins the tap. Taken here by Lockie Gould. A long looping handball out of the contest. Tackled there. And so this one spills out towards the edge of the centre square. Players fly in. Lepore couldn't take it cleanly. And it's a real log jam there. We've got a free kick.
And that's the silly free kicks that I keep talking about that they give away. No need to give that free kick away. The ball had cleared the area by a long distance before that free kick was given for a late tackle.
So Lockie Gould a little ginger to get up after that tackle from Temple. Here comes the kick in towards the forward line. Hendrick 1v3, couldn't win the footy. Does so eventually though. Had it held to him, and despite the protests of the Fairpark faithful, it's going to go back to the hands of the umpire. So a ball up with 27 minutes played now here in quarter number 3. Longest quarter we've had was 30 minutes in the first term. Here's the kick now, smothered off the boot out of the contest. Anjemi dives in for it. Colosimo did well, but his torpedo has gone right into the car park, and that's out of bounds on the full. I'm not sure if that was an intentional torp or just shanked that one.
A rare kicking error by Stephen Colosimo today. So there's the mark by Stafford. Dying moments of this third term, the premiership quarter. It's been a cracker from both sides. Dadswell takes possession, throws it on the boot. Dadswell, but the only man there is Ryan Lepore to safely pouch the mark for the Rams. Well weighted kick to Mulqueen as the siren sounds to end the third quarter, and a pretty tight third term it was. East Burwood in that quarter kicked 2 goals 7, so they were wasteful. Fairpark in that quarter kicked 2 goals 2, so they didn't have anywhere near as many opportunities. But as it stands, it's just 12 points the margin at 3-quarter time. Fairpark 11, 8-74 to East Burwood, 8 goals 14, 62 on the Eastland scoreboard.
So that'll do it here for quarter number 3 out at East Burwood Reserve here on EFL Game Day. You're listening to 1377 SEN Plus. We'll be back with more right after this. With a few technical difficulties there, waiting for the break, but don't forget also to join us from 5 o'clock this afternoon as we're going to the EFL Postgame show, where we'll bring you all the scores and results from around the Eastern Footy League and a couple of around the grounds reports as well. And tomorrow, 10 o'clock, EFL Sunday, brought to you from SEN, the SEN studios there in South Bank, hosted by Brad Henderson. We'll bring you all the results and some interviews with the coaches, as we do every Sunday. By last Sunday, obviously, we had a bit of a break. And speaking of breaks, we'd like to take one now, but...
We'll just quickly run through the goal kickers.
Go through the goal kickers,
Steve, while we wait for that. Ronnie McKendry has kicked 4 today. James Goff has booted 3. They were all in the first quarter. 2 goals to Stephen Colosimo, and Tyrone Fabrizio is the only other goal kicker for Fairpark. So they've only had 4 goal kickers today.
Whenever you want.
For East Burwood, 2 each to Lockie Gould and Adrian Galino. As we'll take a break on 1377 SEN Plus. Be back on the other side of this with the final quarter as Fairpark lead by 12 points.
The Kids Edition, footy for kids with Daisy Pearce.
And you're clear.
Breakfast with Gary Lyon and Tim Watson.
Will McLaughlin, do you think he's staying in the position for much longer?
Well,
what are you hearing?
I think there's an expectation, Tim, that probably at the end of next year that he would move on, because I think he's contracted till the end of 2020. There's been some speculation in the paper about who his successor might be.
Who do you think it'll be?
Well, probably Brendan Gale.
For Melbourne Airport long-term car park, unbeatable deals this tax time with AEG Power Tools and Toyota Means Business. Back Monday from 6.
Only 19 shots from 53 inside 50s, down on clearances and can't lay a tackle. What was the seniors coach going to do? Jono surprised himself and everyone else. The spray he gave the boys at halftime worked. Well, he did finish it by saying he'd shout them a post-game feed and frothies at Eastland if they won. For all of life and footy's little moments, there's Eastland, proud sponsors of the EFL. Eastland, live real.
Hello. Concrete Fusion is the very latest range of 2019 National Floor tiles to take the market by storm. And National Tiles have gate-crashed the market on this all-new range of $40 floor tiles at an unbeatable $19.95. Yes, that's right. The all-new $40 Concrete Fusion National Floor tiles at an introductory price of just $19.95 per metre. Available in-store now or shop online 24/7 at nationaltiles.com.au.
Hello, I'm Peter Hitchener. 9 News invites you to join our team nightly at 6 for Melbourne's #1 news. Tony Jones with the latest sport, including the footy, plus Lavinia Nixon's weather forecast. 9 News, proud supporter of the Eastern Football League.
When you pull your socks up each morning, pull up a pair of all-day socks by Underworks. The cushioned sole is like walking on clouds. Plus, there's no annoying elastic or ugly red marks. All-day socks by Underworks. So comfy you'll chuck all your other socks out. Available at all leading retailers.
If you're the guy whose job it is to order timber to the site, here's a fail-safe guide to not getting yourself fired. Step 1. Use Coldstream Timber. Step 2. See Step 1. When you use Coldstream Timber, you'll never run out of timber, because whatever you're building, Coldstream Timber and Hardware can organise same-day delivery of timber, framing, doors, decking, hardware, insulation, flooring and more. You'll never run out of timber with Coldstream Timber and Hardware. Maroondah Highway Coldstream. coldstreamtimber.com.au. Conditions apply.
Hello, I'm Rosie for the Family Peace Foundation. Last week, I did my first full handstand in the park. I've been practicing for months and was so excited. Mum missed it though, because she was looking at something on her phone. My dog Digger saw it, and he came running, wagging his tail, and we celebrated together. I wish Mum could have seen it, but like always, she was on her phone. Family Peace. Do it for your kids.
At Melbourne Airport, you can get 1 hour terminal parking for just $12. It makes it easy to greet your loved ones when they come home, or give them a proper send-off. You can also park for up to 3 hours for just $24, and 1 day for $51. That's cheaper than a taxi to and from the city. For warmer welcomes, proper goodbyes, and everything in between, Melbourne Airport parking is here to get you there. Visit melbourneairport.com.au.
The biggest cricket tournament in the world. The 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup is here, and you'll hear every ball live on SEN. Don't miss a moment of the action, with every game live on 1377 SEN Plus, as well as a designated channel on the SEN app. Plus, every Australian game live on 1116 SEN. He's caught it second slip. Simmons Homes, building quality, affordable homes since 1949. SEN is your home for the 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup. AFL Nation, Carlton versus Western Bulldogs tonight on 1116 SEN.
Here we go, guys. I'm going to put your mic back on now.
Footy.
Go.
And welcome back to EFL Game Day here on 1377 SEN Plus out here at East Burwood Reserve. Let's go to the Score Centre with Dan Sensick.
Yeah, thanks very much, Steve. In Premier Division, Rowville 21-point leaders over Blackburn at three-quarter time, 57 playing 36. Doncaster taking on Norwood. Slender lead to Norwood at three-quarter time, 49 playing 38. Moving on to Division 1, East Ringwood 39 trailing Muralbark 49 at three-quarter time. And Lilydale trailing Croydon 38 to 66. Bayswater 17 13 points behind Park Orchards, 60 playing 43. And Doncaster East have kicked away from Wantirna South, 86-42, as we move on to Division 2 action. And it is, of course, a close game out there at the hangar. Heathmont 6-5-41, leading Mulgrave 5-7-37. Division 3, Ferntree Gully, big third term from them, 9-3-57 to Whitehorse 4-7-31. And just a couple of results in Division 4. It is Sylvan 204 leading Croydon North Mlock 24, Coldstream 85 to Kilsyth 13, and Surrey Park 113 to Nunawading 9.
Thanks, Dan. Some very interesting scores from around the league, and don't forget we'll have all the scores at 5 o'clock. Here's the kick now in towards them for attacking. Middleton almost took that mark inside his own forward 50, and we'll have a ball up. So it's 11-8-74, plays 8-14-62 out here. The Fairpark have a 12-point lead over the Rams as the Shadows come across the ground out here at East Burwood Reserve, as the ball's locked in the forward 50 now here for the Rams as they dive in on hands and knees. They're looking for it. There is Mariani. Socket off the ground there by Need. Gets it out towards centre wing. It dribbles past a couple of players. It's almost locked in there by Wills. He dives on top of the footy. Going chase there is Kennedy. Colosimo beats both of those players to it. And he strives to try and keep it over the boundary line. It goes though. And it will be a boundary throw and dead on centre wing.
It doesn't look like there's been many changes made by the squad. Goff seems to be playing a little bit deeper than what he had been. But I think the other changes, Dulgaris has gone on to Kennedy.
So Wills wins the footy off the contest, slipped a hand pass out, and here comes the kick up towards the forward 50 in the direction of Neat, who was on hands and knees, but the ball didn't get to him. Neat's going to beat him to it, though, and he gets a kick off the right boot, but puts it into the car park, and it's out of bounds on the full, and it'll be a free kick going the way here of East Burwood. So they're about 65-70 from home, and to bring the footy back in there is Kennedy. His kick is a high up and under in towards the forward line. No one can take the mark. It spills out the back. There's Bevis Chedji. Can't take it cleanly. Forced to run in and concede a behind. And no, they're not going to pay that for deliberate, boys. 8-15-63 East Burwood move to. They trail Fairpark 11-8-74. 2 minutes gone. Final term.
So Jesse Pearce brings the ball back in. Finds Hurd. Kyle Hurd, nice kick up towards the wing position where Cowan was in the box seat, but he lost the ball to Matty Mariani. Great tenacity shown then by Mariani as he drives it forward, looking for Galeno once more. Well played back there by Need. Needs kick a bit of a floater to the wing position, and it's been marked by Middleton. So Jai Middleton thumps it back from whence it came. Big pack, and a good mark taken by Pearce, who's used the footy really well today. Nice kick to Dunn. Jack Dunn, usually pretty skillful off either side of his body. This kick by him up towards the wing. McKendry on a long lead. No mark. Stafford just stood up well in the tackle then. Hands it off to Mulqueen. Mulqueen, short kick to Anthony Perry. Finds Middleton. Mulqueen, angled run. Kicks it out towards the wing position. Handball over the top by Griffiths. Kennedy. Round the corner then, Jason Kennedy, high kick. Brad Neat led the race to the ball. Did really well then, socketed it in front of himself and ran it down again. Got it to Goff. Colosimo there under pressure and over the boundary line, just around from the scoreboard here at East Burwood Reserve. The Eastland scoreboard, which shows Fairpark 11-8-74, East Burwood 8-15-63, coming up to 4 minutes gone in the final quarter.
So the boundary throw comes in, taken off there by Wills. He gets dragged to the ground and held, said the umpire. He's got himself a free kick. Dead on centre wing, far side of the ground. And the sun starting to get in the eyes of a few of these players. It's going to be interesting going into the last stages of the game. So we've played 4 minutes here in this final term on SEN 1377 and simulcast on Radio Eastern 98.1. There's the kick up towards the half-forward line. A good mark taken there by Scotty Davis. And he's about 65 from home. Swings around, puts it onto the right boot, in towards a congested forward line. Oh, almost dragged in with one hand there by Hendrick. Mariani goes diving in there. It's taken by Hurd. He pops a hand pass out here to Need. Taken one-handed there by Temple. And he puts the kick up towards centre wing off the right boot. It bounces over the head of everyone. Wills is going to be first back to it by East Burwood. Just evades the tackle with ease. Puts it back in towards centre half forward now here for the Rams. Two players, two of the bigs there, Middleton and Hendrick, contested their own mark, and Bevis Chedji ends up with the footy and puts it in towards the centre of the ground. It bounces and dribbles through, taking it off the deck. There is Fabrizio. Gets a hand pass out now here to Colosimo, and puts a hand pass over the top to Mercer. Uncontested, here's McKendry. Or drop what he probably should have taken. He's going to get run down there by Rixton. Rixton's done really well there at the back there to get the hand pass out. And here comes Gould to his assistance. Gould, he's taken with the footy. Goff pops a little hand pass out. The kick off the ground is to the left. And a bit of a sitter there for Fairpark goes begging. It's just the minor score. That was Alex Mullix there. He's already got a couple this afternoon, and a couple of behinds, I should say. And he almost had his first. It's going to be 8:15:63. Fairpark 11:9:75.
Well, two golden opportunities to kick a goal. One from a mark and the other one from inside the square, basically.
Third behind of the day for Alex Mullix, close to the boundary line and taken over. And I don't know, Dave, I always reckon when you see like McKendry drop that mark, like everyone obviously makes mistakes, it was a mark he should have held. I didn't think I think he was too busy being disappointed about that to really influence the next contest when the ball was on the deck. Rixton went in a lot harder, and you just, you want to see a player really want to redeem themselves in that situation. The
one thing I'm noticing just about Fairpark look tired at the moment, and East Burwood are just trying to run them off their legs, but they just haven't been able to do it at the moment. They just look a bit tired at Fairpark.
They do indeed. Hurd's long kick forward. Goff goes to ground. Mulqueen does well, gets around the tackler. Mulqueen's kick to Griffiths. Geez, I've liked his run and carry in this second half. He's running on top of the ground at the moment. Kick by Griffiths was a good one. He finds Lepore. Still too far out to score. Lepore wheels around. Low spearing kick, looking for Mariani. Off hands, Galino around the corner, but he's off target. Minor score. And East Burwood, they're possibly kicking themselves out of a win here. 8 goals, 16-64 to Fairpark 11-9-75.
And again, that ball was rebounded far too easily by East Burwood. Not enough defensive pressure from their forwards.
Here's the kick out of defence. Keem had it spoiled away from him. Looking for it on the second bite. There was Alumis. It goes onto the deck. Picked up in the air by Anjemi. Hand pass out to Middleton. Short stabbing pass. Finds Galino. And he's almost hugging the boundary line, about 45 out. He's going to go back and have a kick.
And again, it's the width. They are just using the whole width of the ground at the moment, East Burwood, in trying to just constantly run Fairpark around. And there's a lot of tired boys out there in the Fairpark side.
So Galino, 2 goals, 1 this afternoon so far. This to make the margin 5 points. As he runs in off the left, the kick is low and to the near side of the sports cover goalpost, and then just the minor score, 8-17-65. East Burwood trail by 10. It's Fairpark 11-9-75. 8 minutes gone on the Eastland scoreboard in the final term.
That's a poor kick from Galino. You would expect better from him on that angle.
Pearce brings it in again. Hurd, did he get a push out then from McGowan? And Jemmy to McGowan. Knocked it into open space. Davis did well, got it to Kennedy, back to Anjemi. Chain of handballs now. Stafford will sink the slipper into it. He is a driving kick, Stafford. This one bounces into the pocket. Need comes away for Fairpark. Bit of a, floating kick, but it worked out okay in the end. Mullix gets around really well then, Mullix. Nice kick to Tobias. Ethan Tobias measures the pass, finds Temple right in the true middle of East Burwood reserve. And they just slow play down now a little bit, Fairpark. Josh Temple. Nice kick to Colosimo. Had it for a long time. Umpire said he had it for too long, holding the ball, and the free kick goes to Griffiths for East Burwood.
That wasn't the option to give it. He had better options down deep 50 and didn't need a shallow 50 entry at that stage then, Fairpark.
So McGowan went by hand to Handrick. His high kick in towards the direction of Need won that contest and forced the ball over the boundary line for a boundary throw inside the forward pocket here for the Rams. 10 points the margin here between Fairpark and East Burwood. 9.5 gone here in the final term. Hope you're enjoying the coverage on 1377 SEN Plus, streaming around the globe, efl.org.au. Well taken there by Pearce off of the rucking contest. The kick comes up towards centre wing. A couple of players. Stafford does battle there. Can't win the footy cleanly off the deck. Bursting through there was Dalgeris, and he's taken to ground by a good tackle by Anthony Perry. We'll have a ball up. And don't forget also tomorrow, EFL Sunday from 10 o'clock until 12, we'll bring you all the results and interviews from this weekend's round of Eastern Footy League action as Hurd wins that off the rucking contest. It bounces there unkindly for Gould. Well taken there by McKendry. Turns around, puts it onto the right boot, and unattended there is Mullix, and he's going to go back from about 35 at a slight angle and look to extend Fairpark's lead.
Well, that made up for some of the mistakes he's made, Mullix. That was... Sorry, McKendry, that was a really, really nice turn and hit the target in Mullix. He's had 4 shots, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So this is his 5th shot. He needs to score one, particularly as he is such a nice kick.
So Mullix hasn't kicked a major all afternoon. He's kicked 25 on the year. So he was equal with Ronnie McKendry coming into today's game. And his kick, well, he doesn't add to that tally. Just adds to a minor score, and Fairpark moved to 11-10-76. East Burwood 8-17-65, 11.5 gone in the final term.
0 goals for the day so far for Alex Mullix, so yeah, wasteful. There's the kick to Kennedy, pushed out of it by Dalgeris. Ricard on hands and knees. Kennedy went without the footy, goes in again. Players dive in, and the umpire says play on, and he never blew the whistle then. Still hasn't blown the whistle. Finally it spills out. Is that in the back by Ricard on Njemi? The umpire said no, and it'll be a ball up. So 11 points the lead, 76 plays 65. Palm down straight into the hands of Keem. Keem's kick drifts across the face. Mullix against Stafford. Good battle between those two. And Stafford just sits on him from behind, and the umpire rushes in to say no chance of getting rid of that, so it'll be a ball up. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of tired players out there. A lot of players with hands on hips, looking like they're breathing in the big ones at this stage.
They kick another one, it is going to be difficult for East Burwood to get back. I must admit, there's one goal in this at either side, and it could be end of the game.
Umpire tosses it up. Quick kick came from Mercer. Bounces along the boundary. Mullix there goes to ground, takes it over the line. The margin at quarter time was 15 points, 17 points at half time, 12 points at 3/4 time, and as it stands right now, it's 11 points. So it's really been around that sort of 2 to 3 goal margin all day long, apart from the early part of the game. It's been a 2 to 3 goal lead the way of Fairpark. Davis drives it forward. Nice mark taken though by Need. Once again, Brad Need shared it with Hurd. Pears, who's a piercing kick, that's for sure. Lovely one again, although this time it was chopped off nicely by Griffiths. Griffiths handball to Davis. Strong tackle applied, and a free kick will go to Scott Davis, who switches out to Middleton. Bit of open space here for East Burwood as they go forward once more.
Gee, he's been good, hasn't he, Need? Look at that.
Yeah,
brilliant bit of play. That's the only issue he's got. His kicking is woeful, I'll be honest. He turns the football over nearly every time he kicks it, but he wins it so well.
So Anjemi goes for a run through the centre of the ground, puts it onto the right boot, and a short stabbing pass, I should say, in the mark taken as, wanted to go there, did Lepore, and he's going to go back now. Looks like he's going to take his chances now. With 45 out, he puts it onto the right boot, a long probing kick in towards the goal square, but it's to the right, and just the minor score. And these Burwood, they're 19th behind of the afternoon. They move to 8-19-67, trailing Fairpark 11-10-76 here on the Eastland Scoreboard. Excuse me, they're 18th behind.
Well, been nothing wrong with Jesse Pearce's kicking in today. I think he's most of them have hit the mark. This kick up towards half-back. Davis boots it forward. McGowan, that mark will be paid. And Jeffries that time just a little late on the scene. So the mark paid to Joel McGowan. Quickly plays on. Low kick. Gould. Lockie Gould that time stripped of the footy. Rickard for Fairpark has turned it over. Nice mark taken by Anthony Perry. Nope. East Burwood not wasting any time here. Long kick forward. Middleton the target. Ball on the deck. Well played by Dunn. That was good footy. Kicks to Banks. Cam Banks, true wing position now for Fairpark. Quiet afternoon for him today. Goes short to Dunn. So Jack Dunn for Fairpark. Taking a little bit of time off the clock. Wants a short one. Finds Mercer. And again, they just take their time here, Fairpark. There's no hurry. They want to take some seconds off the clock. Shane Mercer, up and under kick. A real kick in hope, but it worked out okay. And James Goff was camped under it and put the big dukes up and takes the mark.
Well, that's when you need the big fellas to stand up. They don't get any shorter as the game gets further, do they? But I don't think it was... I don't think it was Rixton's fault then. He didn't get any assistance. Everyone knew that was going to be a one-on-one there, but nobody came in to try and help him out, and I think that was the disappointing part.
Kicked 3 goals in the space of about 4 or 5 minutes in the first quarter, but hasn't hit the scoreboard really since then. That kick's way wide and out of bounds on the full, so a disappointing finish this time from the big number 99, James Goff.
That was a tired kick.
So Stafford brings the footy back in here for East Burwood, and 17 minutes played now here in this final term as East Burwood trying to awkward kick. Stafford had to take it on the second bite, and he kicks this one out down the near side of the ground. Good mark taken there by Perry, that being of the Anthony variety. Hasn't got much on offer upfield, so told to play on now here by the umpire. Just puts it onto the boot up towards centre wing. Handrick arriving late. Well, he took it after his opponent couldn't. And popping out that hand pass now here to Mariani. Good hand pass from him. Now here to Davis. His kick up towards centre half forward. Going back with a flight. Great mark taken there by Lepore, who had Brad Need coming back with the sun in his eyes. And he's going to line up dead in front from about 45, 50 out. And, he's moving this pretty quickly. Straight onto the right boot it goes. It's a high probing kick. Is it going to have the carry? It does! And East Burwood have another major. And that's Lepore's first goal of the afternoon. 9-18-72. They trail Fairpark by 4 points, 11-10-76. 18 minutes gone here on the Eastland scoreboard in the final term.
And again, I hate to say it, but I'm looking around and the Fairpark players, they've made a lot of mistakes just through real tiredness. That was, there was a drop mark, a drop chest mark. He was tired. Poor kick for goal from Goff from an easy range and put it out of bounds on the full. All from tiredness, and that's because East Burwood are just running and running and running at the moment.
Well, just 4 points the margin, and what's going on out there? A lot of
that's a 6-6-6 free kick.
Yeah, a lot of time for it to be paid,
and it's 25 too.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so 25-metre penalty goes to Fairpark, to the big ruckman Kyle Hurd. And what They lead by 4 points here, Fairpark, so will that prove costly for East Burwood? Just stops the momentum slightly. Kyle Hurd taking a very long time here. Umpire called play on, gave it off to Colosimo. Thumping kick by Colosimo to full forward. Fished it away. Quick kick out of defence by Gould up towards the middle. Colosimo again. Handball to Bevis Chedji. Gave it back to Colosimo. Thumping kick to Banks. And Cam Banks in the right place at the right time. Takes the mark and will go back and line up for his first goal of the day.
Well, they can thank Colosimo for a number of things today. And, when everyone could hardly kick over 10 metres, he's been able to kick another 45 to 50 metre advantage kick.
So Cameron Banks for his first late inclusion today. And he's hung it out to the right, minus score there for Fairpark. They now lead by 5 points on the Eastland scoreboard.
So we are in time on, Here's Gould to bring the footy back in here for the Rams. His kick towards the far side of the ground. O'Brien was beaten out 2-on-1 and the ball goes over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in.
That was great play from Need then. He has run 60 metres, at least 60 metres then to get to that contest and influence it. Sensational work.
So 5 points at the margin out here at East Burwood Reserve. It's some pretty long quarters so far this afternoon. As a kick there from Hurd, it just goes higher than it did further. This one moved out in towards the centre of the ground. Awkward bounce there for Anjemi. He couldn't take it cleanly. Plopped out of the air there by Mariani. Puts a little chip pass off now. Ran onto there by Gould. He goes by hand now here to Galino. Galino, oh man, he's made an absolute Barry Crocker of that, and it's gone out of bounds. Not on the full, but well out, and Lepore can't keep it in. Well, that might be a pivotal moment there in the game for East Burwood.
Oh, hard to believe that, isn't it? A player of his skill and ability by himself. I thought maybe he might have thought someone's running down the side and he's tried to put it out there for them, but there was no one there.
No. What was he trying to do then?
No idea.
So 5 points to margin, 22 minutes played. There comes the ruck contest. It's roved there by Gould. Goes for a hand pass out over the top to Kennedy. His kick was partially smothered. It comes back to Kennedy, but he's run down. Run onto there by Need. He puts a kick up towards the half-forward line, and racing back for it there is Yanni Griffith. Great take off the ground. Kicks it now, switches the play in towards the centre, and it's all East Burwood as the kick comes in towards the centre half forward direction, and we've got a free kick coming off holding, and it's going to go to Handrick here. Handrick now dead in front, puts a pretty mongrel kick now in towards the forward line. It falls now here for Matt Mariani. He almost threw that. Galino going to pick it up. He's met solidly. Galino spins, puts it on the left, and he's kicked it. Goal of the day there to Adrian Galino, and East Burwood for the first time have hit the front. It's 10-18-78. They lead Fairpark by 1 point, 11-11-77. Third goal of the afternoon there for Adrian Galino, and what a time to bring it up.
Well, the classic case of should you bump or should you tackle, and Fairpark player decided to bump. You need to tackle because that's exactly what you've seen then. He's bumped and he's been able to get off, and there cannot be too much time left in this game. Crucial clearance, this one.
1 point lead to East Burwood. 10 goals, 18-78. Fairpark 11-11-77. And what a finish we've got here. 23 minutes gone in the last quarter. Temple gets the free kick. Drives it forward. Goff the target. Went through his hands. Griffiths handball to Stafford. Stafford over the top to Mulqueen. The kick hugs the boundary. Strong tackle this time on Mariani, and that was by Jack Dunn. And he was going nowhere then, Ant Mariani, so it'll be a ball up.
They just didn't, unfortunately, Fairpark forwards just don't work hard enough to defend. They're very good offensively, they just don't work very hard offensively.
Palm down then to Tobias. Wasn't holding the ball. The umpire says yes. The East Burwood fans definitely liking that decision. Free kick goes to Jason Kennedy. Mighty game by him this afternoon. Drives it forward. Big spoil from the back by Cowan. Bevis Chedji threw it on the boot indiscriminately, but it worked out fortuitously for Shane Mercer as it landed in his hands. Driving kick by Mercer to full forward. Off hands. Mullix. Brilliant handball to Fabrizio, and Fairpark hit the front once again.
Well, you wouldn't have picked that one, would you? That was an outstanding handball over the top then. Absolutely outstanding from Mullix. Worked hard. They got the ball into their forward area. East Burwood looked like they had it covered, and then a tremendous bit of play then. So what a game of football this one is.
Going to have a hard time picking the goal of the day because that one was a contender as well.
Oh yeah, and when you think about it, 1v2, this is the sort of stuff that you want to see.
So 12-11-83 plays 10-18-78. Tyrone Fabrizio with his second goal of the afternoon, and there's that might have been kicking in danger there from Davis. Went the volley right out of the ruck contest. Here's the ball dribbling on the deck. Mariani's met by two Fairpark players, and the ball will go back to the umpire.
Something about this ground, Davo, when we come out here to do a radio game. It's so many crackers over the years, and this has been another one.
So Middleton won the draw. This fan passed over the top by McGowan. It finds Perry now in time and space, puts it in towards the forward line. The target there, couldn't take it, could Wills, but he can take it off the deck and put it onto the left boot. It's coming back, not enough. And just the one behind there to Wills, and that would have been an absolute rip snorter. 10-19-79, East Burwood trail by 4, 12-11-83 Fairpark.
Can they hold on here, Fairpark? Pierce's kick slipped through the hands of Cowan. Quick kick by Middleton. High up and under ball. Great spoil that time by Pierce. Close to the boundary. Bevis Chedji had nowhere to go. Played it pretty well in the end and takes it over the boundary line for a throw-in. 4-point lead to Fairpark.
I think even the timekeepers have got a bit of theatre about them at the moment, haven't they?
26 minutes gone. They have led for almost the whole game today, Fairpark. It would be pretty cruel if they didn't get the win here, given how much time they've spent in front. Griffin got it out. Gould does well. Did he throw it out to Stafford? Umpire said no. Launching the kick long. Mariani, had the hands outstretched, desperate for them to lob in his hands. But
what's going on? It's given a free kick.
Free kick's been paid to Max Wills.
Must have been behind the play.
Presumably some holding on against Cowan there. So Max Wills doesn't mind a goal. Difficult kick this one. Goes with the check side. He did that well. Summed it up beautifully. And Max Wills has kicked his first. What a time to do it. And I think... Yeah, so that is his first bit of a delay on the goal, but it's a goal for Wills. And East Burwood now 11-19-85. Fairpark 12-11-83. I thought the siren must have gone because there was that secondary big cheer from the crowd, but it's a 2-point lead to East Burwood. 2 points in front, 28 minutes gone in the final quarter.
I'd like to know what the free was for because I had no idea what that was for.
So more drama than Broadway out here at East Burwood Reserve. 28 minutes played here. We're deep into time on as both teams try to win this out of the centre. And it's going back for another ball up. Don't go anywhere here on 1377 SEN Plus or EFL.org.au. We have an absolute cracker out here at East Burwood Reserve. In comes the ball up again. Middleton v Hurd. Middleton won that one. It dived on there by both teams. A desperation setting in. And we'll have another ball up. That's the final siren. Oh, an absolute cracker of a game out here at East Burwood Reserve in Division 4. It's the Rams victorious by 2 points, 11-19-85, defeating Fairpark 12-11-83. And it was a classic game of footy. And, well, you can see the Fairpark players, they are absolutely dejected. They would be after leading for about 95% of the game. And the East Burwood Wills declared the deciding kick with 27 minutes played, and that was the difference in the end. Let's go through the goal kickers for this afternoon's game. For Fairpark, multiple goal kickers. Goff with 3, McKendry with 4, Colosimo 2, and Fabrizio with 2, and Dave Bennett with 1 as well. And almost all single goal kickers here for East Burwood. McGowan with 1, Lockie Gold the only multiple goal kicker, Adrian Gelino the only multiple goal kicker, 3 goals, Kennedy with 1, Davis with 1, Middleton with 1, Wills with 1, Lepore, and Lockie Gould had 2, and McGowan with 1. So, gentlemen, a fantastic game of footy.
Oh yeah, tremendous game of football, and this is what you want to see of two top sides. They battled it out the entire game. Fairpark cleared out a little bit, but I was really impressed with the way that East Burwood just kept coming. They kept working. In third quarter, they had their opportunities. Looked like they might have kicked their way out of it, but then in the last quarter, Fairpark looked like they might have kicked their way out of it as well. So, it ebbed and flowed the entire time. I think both sides will look at that as a great preview to what might be. And having seen a number of games, look, these two are the best two sides in the competition by, I would think, a long way. And we'll just see how what happens as we get closer to the end of the season. But Fairpark can walk away being really disappointed at not being able to hold on to their lead. And I think there are a number of areas that they've got to look at. As I said, I think defensively, their forward line lacks. They allow teams to run the ball out of defence far too easily. I thought, however, defensively they worked really hard today when the ball came in a number of times and they rebounded it beautifully. East Burwood around the contest really started to lift. But I just thought it was probably the end. It was the weight of numbers from East Burwood. They had it in there that many times that eventually they were going to score. And unfortunately, it's to a free kick that we can't work out why, but that's the reality of football. It happens. It probably was held onto by the sound of it.
Just on that one, Davo, I was watching the monitor here, and all I was watching was Mariani and whether he was going to take that mark. So I must admit, I didn't see what was going on behind the play. I wonder if, I don't know if any of us here were watching what was going on behind the play. So it could have been a completely, absolutely a free kick that was there.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
we weren't sort of watching that part of the ground.
Yeah, it's just one, yeah. and it seemed to be like they were quite definite. The umpires they've called that one. So, and if it has been a hold off the play, that's disappointing too. That's not what you want to have your defensive group doing at that point. So, at the moment, Sean will be talking to them about the opportunity and the fact that they stood up against a side like East Burwood and they've proved themselves that they're worthy to be in this competition and be where they are, and that they have another chance to fight back again whenever they get to play them further down the track, whether that's again, I think it might be towards the end of the year they play them again, but you could see, I would think that it'd be fairly a big upset if either of these two did not make it to the end of the season. But a great game of footy, like a ripping game of footy.
Final round they play, round 18.
Well, that'll be interesting to see what sort of a hit out you get, because if they're both clear 1 and 2, it has no impact.
Yeah.
But if there's a spot, well, then that'll be interesting to see if it comes up.
But it's always that funny thing where it can, on the one hand, it means nothing if they're first and second clearly, but the next week they play each other again, and there's always that, getting an advantage maybe ahead of the finals, or sometimes teams keep a few things up their sleeve for the final the week after. I know you've been in that situation, Davo, a couple of times over the years with teams you've coached where you play the team that you're going to play again the next week in the first final.
Yeah, we did. I remember that, and that actually was out here, Knox when I was coaching Templestowe. We did the same thing. We played them out here in the last round and then had to play them in the second semi, and we got through to the grand final, and they came out and played the prelim, and it was a draw. Played the extra time. They come from 9 goals down at half time against South Croydon to win the draw, and then they came out and beat us by 2 points here in the grand final. So yeah, you're right. It's sometimes it's really difficult to know what to do, but I think. Look, I know he'll be really disappointed, Sean, because he had an opportunity, but I think he can be really proud of their players and where they've come from and what they've been able to do, because no one's been able to challenge East Burwood this year, and East Burwood will walk away going, look, we fought really hard and we got the win, but we've got a lot to work on too, because we were outplayed for 95% of the game, if you really look at it that way. That we were behind for nearly we've been in front twice, and once was at the siren, the other one was 3 minutes before the siren. So, they've still got work to do, East Burwood, but this is what you want to see, this sort of football.
And you have to also inaccurate kicking. I mean, that's going to be a big sticking point for the Rams. 19 behinds.
It is, I think, but I also think that the Lions will look at that as well. I'm not sure how many points they kicked in the last quarter, the Lions, but I reckon it was 4 or 5.
They kicked 1 goal 3 in the last quarter.
Well, I reckon they had and 1 out of bounds on the full.
Yeah.
So they had 4 what I believe were quite easy shots at goal. And they've had Mullock's run into an open goal from the goal square and
put it
missed.
wide, yeah.
So you've got, and then you've got the other boy Goff, who's been in the dead eye, and he's 35 out directly in front. He's put it out of bounds on the full. So, there's a bit of work to do. One of the things I'd be looking at Fairpark is we need to get a little bit more run in our legs. I think their midfield don't run hard enough, and I thought that's where Kennedy and these boys really hurt them on the inside. Having said that, Colosimo, sensational in the work that he does. McKendry's a very, very dangerous forward. You don't need to give him too many opportunities, and he takes them nearly every time. And down back, we saw some great works from Brad Need. I thought worked really hard. Jeffries worked really hard down there as well. The boy that kicked out, Pierce, was it?
Yeah.
He was fantastic with his kicking from defence. So there's a lot to like about what Fairpark have been able to produce today.
Yeah, you'd be quite happy to see these two teams go around in a grand final at later in the year. At this stage, they're first and second on the ladder. It's a long way to go, of course, but it would be an appetising grand final matchup if these two sides are there on that day in September this year.
Because I think one of the things that's really good about both sides is they've both got players that can take big marks. So that's something that's really nice. And the ruck contest was really even today. I didn't think Middleton had it all his own way. Handrek didn't take a lot of marks up forward, so I thought there was some good defensive work there from Cowan against him most of the day. So Goff got on top early, but then Rixton really worked hard to get back on him and stopped him from taking too many marks. So the marking options early disappeared all over the ground, and then it became a game of who was going to win the ground ball, who was going to be able to work the ball out of their defence and overlap run better. And I think East Burwood were probably just a little bit better than that the whole time.
They're not two teams from a spectator's point of view. They're not two. Well, let's see if we can pick up this free kick in a moment if we'll see it. But they're not sides that are sort of filled with a whole lot of foot soldiers. There's a lot of genuinely dynamic players on both teams, guys who potentially can break a game open and be a match winner. And from a spectator's point of view, you love seeing those types. Teams have. I mean, some clubs just don't have those players at their club at a time, and they just have to try to make the best of what they got. But these two sides both have plenty of guys who could be the match winner on their day.
Well, that's the thing. As a spectator, you would come and watch these two because there are players that you just want to come and watch. You want to see McKendry, the way he can actually work in the forward line and the excitement that he brings when he gets the ball. But at the same time, Galeno does the same thing, and the big marks that we talk about, Neat's there to take marks. And I agree. I don't think there's a lot of the average players. There's a lot of really good, solid players, and a great contest, and you would come here to watch both these sides play any time, I reckon. Really good.
Yeah, excellent stuff. And 2-point win here for East Burwood, 11-19-85 to Fairpark, 12-11-83. And as we said, and just to run through those goal kickers again, McKendry kicked 4 today, all in the first half. James Goff kicked 3, which were all in the first quarter. 2 each to Colosimo and Fabrizio. And Bennett also kicked 1. And then for East Burwood, 3 goals for Adrian Galino, 2 for Lockie Gould, and a host of singles. Interesting that Fairpark only had the 5 goal kickers today, so East Burwood had, I think they had about 9 goal kickers today.
And that's where there are players that need to work harder in the forward line. So Banks today, he's a player that needs to work a bit harder because he has the opportunities. Mullock's had opportunities, just didn't take them. But these are the guys that can hit the scoreboard and need to hit the scoreboard to help those other players that have been working really hard. Whereas you look at East Burwood, I can't remember, how many did the Mariani brothers kick today?
Anthony kicked 2 behinds and Matthew kicked 2 behinds.
So it's unusual to have 9 or 7 goal kickers, and none of the Marianis have actually got on the scoreboard. No. So again, Galino he's kicked 2, I think, but really 3 wasn't a real influence on the game. No. So both sides will go. There's a lot of upside that we can get better, and that just makes it even better for us that are going to watch these games to see this sort of stuff.
So we're about to be joined by a couple of the East Burwood players here on EFL Game Day. Just don't forget, 5 o'clock we'll have the post-game show. No, we've got. No, I think we'll only just put the. Sorry, we're going to. We're joined by Adrian Galino here at East Burwood. Adrian, great game of footy out there tonight.
Oh yeah, it was great. We're looking forward to this challenge, top of the table clash, and we knew we were going to get a pretty tough game, and as you could see, it was down to the wire, and we're lucky to get away with the win. So we're wrapped.
Last 5-10 minutes of the game, what was the feeling like?
Well, it's hard to sort of say. There was a lot of noise going on, and I think we just stayed composed. We had 2 blokes that were on the bench we had 2 blokes on the bench and 2 blokes injured. So we just stayed composed and we just kept going at it and we just kept grinding away, and we're just lucky at the end just to get away with it. Really, could have gone either way.
Great battle you had today with Brad Need. He certainly seemed to be really good in the aerial contest, but you kept at it. End of the day with 3 goals. How did you see the matchup?
Oh look, I think I had to change my game a bit in the second half because I think he was just a bit too tall for me, and I think I was getting beaten every time the ball was in the air. So Windy said we want to play you up the ground a little bit, so use your run and come down to the front of the contest, and that's what I tried to do that second half, and I was able to get a couple of goals and be able to contribute to a win like this. So I'm pretty happy.
No, very good.
I was looking at the game after half time, and did Stewie tell you to use the whole ground? Because it looked to me like you wanted to run and spread and really hurt them on that spread as much as you possibly could. Is that the sort of game that you're looking at?
Yeah, definitely. That was definitely the game that Stewie told us from the beginning. So we knew we had the fitness and the run to be able to run the game out, and I think we did that really, really well.
I was saying that you've been behind nearly the entire game, but you've got up over the line, and that's fantastic to have the knowledge that you can do that against a team that you're probably going to come up against in finals as you go forward. But you've got a lot of upside as well for the fact that you probably didn't have the best game that you've had. Mariani's have not hit the scoreboard. So there's a lot of upside still to go within the group, isn't there, than what we saw today?
100%. There's heaps of improvement. We've got blokes who probably didn't have their greatest games today, me one of them, and we've got blokes in the twos that honestly are knocking down the door, and Stewie has a tough Thursday night every Thursday, trying to select a side, because there's so many good blokes in the twos that can come in and easily play a role in the ones, and I think as you said, we're going to come up against them again, and I think there's heaps of improvement for our boys, and we look forward to playing them again.
And one last question before you go, mate. Now, you nearly broke Stewie's record a couple of weeks ago. We had him on the show. You reckon you could give it a shake before the end of the season?
Well, maybe if he keeps me on the ground for 4 quarters, there might be a chance. But maybe. Who knows?
I can tell you now, he's already told us that there's a chance you're coming off if you're getting anywhere close to it. So
I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, well, Adrian Galino, thanks very much for joining us. Good win today and well played.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. That's Adrian Galino there from East Burwood Rams, and we're going to be joined shortly by Lockie Gould and Max Wills here from East Burwood, and as Lockie is about to put the headset on. And he's good to go. Lockie, great game from you and great game from East Burwood today.
Yeah, cheers. It was a pretty good win. Good comeback in the end, down at half time, so it wasn't too bad.
Just a personal question. Just in the corner there, you seemed like you hurt yourself with the leg. We got dragged to ground.
With the tackle?
Yeah.
Nah, that was more my back. I think I just got a bit winded and stuff, so.
Oh, okay.
It really wasn't too bad, yeah.
Okay, it looked a bit worse than probably it was, so that's all good.
No, I got the free kick for it, so. What can you do?
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah.
Lockie, it seemed like a really physical game early, that first quarter. So there was a lot of clashes and confrontations. It seemed pretty willing early. Is that how you found it? And
I think I usually sit more on the outside a little bit. So on the inside, it was, but there was a lot of space out. So if you hold your space and move it wide, there was plenty of time. So I think that's what we worked on. We spoke about at half time where all the numbers were pushing in. If we sit out, have one or two go in, then we'll break them. So it definitely was a physical game. They're pretty big boys, but we knew we could run them off their legs, so we just backed that.
And that's probably the thing that we looked at with your game. After half-time, we thought you were really influential in that third quarter, getting them back into the game, playing your role. Looked like you played basically between the arcs, didn't get any further up, but they seemed to go through you a lot. Was that one of the plans, to go through the runners on the outside?
Yeah, we do look at what their wings are doing. Like, there's been a few times where their wings push back and trying to sit in the hole. And if they're doing that, then we try to go through both our wings, because we know our next entry is going to be an easier one. So if we feel like we've got enough space, and we talk about it and say spread, or we say go in quick. So we did speak about that, and we thought there was plenty of space outside, and I guess it worked.
And I suppose you have the freedom to go forward if you think there's an opportunity to go forward. As Stewie said, as a wingman, you can play forward and you hit the scoreboard when you can.
Yeah, I try to push forward a little bit when the ball's kicked fat side, just to either get front and centre or even take a mark and stuff. So when my chance comes, I guess I try to take it as much as I can.
All right, Lockie, great game from you today, and great game from East Burwood. Congratulations, and we'll catch you next time on the If You Go Day. So, Lockie Gould there from East Burwood, and we're now joined by the winning goal kicker for today's game, Max Wills. Now, Max, we just want to clear something up. What was the free kick for that you ended up with the kick in the corner?
They said it was a hold on me, so yeah, I was sort of pushing back, and he's grabbed me, and the umpire seen that and called a hold.
Okay, were you surprised when that was paid? When you heard the whistle, were you surprised? Or?
A little bit. I mean, he had my arm, but it's not like I was like trying to go for the footy. You saw there, Maz was like easily there, could have taken the mark, and that was just my plan. So yeah.
So you're trailing for most of the game. What was going through yours and the rest of the team's mind with about 10 minutes to go, particularly that last 5 minutes of play?
We were always comfortable with where we were at. Sort of halfway through the second quarter, when it got out to 5 goals, I think that was when started to worry, but we picked it up a little bit more. Got a few back, and we were always thought they'd thrown their best punch, and we were yet to really get clicking. And you saw we get 2 or 3 goals in a row. The momentum started to go our way, and it was just great to come away with a win in the end.
Max, I think we did a radio game last year where I think you kicked 4 or 5 goals that day out at Glen Waverley, and then today I thought you were terrific down back, the first 3 quarters especially. Do you have a preference on which end of the ground you play at?
Not particularly. I mean, half back, more involved, following the play. You get more of the ball playing backline, but then you got the glory of kicking a goal. So it's it's whatever I can do for the team, really. We got Lewis Neat coming from Vermont this year, and he's a bit of a bigger body than me, so he provides a better contest, and we just went with that.
And I suppose the other thing, you come back into the side this week. Had you been out with an injury prior to that?
So against Coldstream I got concussed, and then played a week, and then was out the next week because I had the flu. So it wasn't ideal preparation for this big game, having one game in a month, but I mean, I did all the work I can to come back and be ready for this.
And I suppose the other thing is the fact of being able to have and I think it's a luxury of being able to use you on the half-back flank because of your use of the footy. You're probably one of the best. You kick the ball over the lines better than most other players in the team. Is that one of the reasons why they like to play in the half-back line?
Yeah, it's that, and he just likes me in the air, just reading the ball, and I'm not. I think I'm a more mobile sort of big, so I'm 6 foot, really able to move around the ground, so I can cover the little guys or cover the big guys and just cover the ground well and get to as many contests as I can. But that's obviously a contributing factor. With Luke Brown, he was away for the start first half of the year. We needed someone to sort of use it from half back. But as you can see, we got like Yanni Griffiths, Matty Gould down there. Like, we're not short of a good ball user down back.
And then the luxury then becomes the fact that when you can go forward, you become that then nearly third or fourth tall forward, and that's a hard matchup, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the thing I struggled with a little bit last year. I kick maybe 3 or 4 goals a week, and then the next week they're putting like their better defender on me because just to cover me, and they can put a smaller guy on Gilly. So that's a sort of surprise element. Me going forward helps me a lot. I can get onto the scoreboard a bit better.
Fantastic.
All right, Max, great game from you and East Burwood today. Best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks, guys.
Well done.
That's Max Wills there, East Burwood. We've got a minute before we got to wrap things up here at EFL Game Day before the post-game show, so we're going to race through it. I'm going to give the Tobin brothers goal of the day unanimously to Adrian Galino, that last goal of his. If there's any objections, please speak now.
Mate.
Done. All right, Tobin brothers, Eastland blessed on ground.
Do you want me to give my votes?
Yep.
I'm giving 1 vote to Colosimo. I thought he kept them in it. He was fantastic all day. I'm giving 2 votes to Brad Need. Thought his efforts all day were fantastic on Galeno. But I'm giving 3 to Jason Kennedy because he started the work in the midfield, and once he got on top, he was unstoppable.
Brad Henderson.
I reckon that's pretty well spot on, but I went Need 1, Colosimo 2, and Kennedy 3.
Okay, I'm pretty much going to go the same, I think. So Jason Kennedy, you have won the Eastland Best On Ground Best Player of the Game. Brad Henderson, thanks very much for your contribution this afternoon.
No problem. Really enjoyed it, Steve. It was great, and tune into EFL Sunday tomorrow morning.
Absolutely. Brett Davidson.
Loved it. Great game of football, and I hope to see many more like it.
Okay, thanks, gentlemen. That does it here for East Burwood Reserve, where it was East Burwood by 2 points over Fairpark here in Division 4. Stay tuned now, just after 5 o'clock. We're here with the EFL post-game show here from the East Burwood Reserve. We'll bring you all the scores and results. I'm Steve White, and we'll see you next time.
Breakfast with Gary and Tim.
Clear, 4 minutes.
When news happens, you'll hear it on Time On.
The pressure that is mounting on Essendon coach John Worsfold-Plough.
You're believing that he's seriously under the pump.
Yeah, I think he's coaching for his career in the next month. So if they lose their next 3 games, they would then go play to 5-9, which is, in your experience, just